I don't know anybody at this point.
Yeah.
And so that part of the journey has been really lonely. That's
Mm.
it's a really it's
That
lonely.
that isolated feeling.
So yeah,
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
isolated. But at the end of the day, like think about like you're paving a way for the people that are going to come after you.
Yeah. All right, welcome back to the Computer Keys channel. I am Marquise, and today we're back with another episode of the My Tech Story interview series. This is something I started to show that there's a lot of different lanes you could get into under this tech umbrella. So I have Shanara here with me again, technically, because we tried this a couple of days ago, but we had some technical difficulties. But we trying again. So
And try it again. That's right. Yeah, never give up.
right.
Right.
I appreciate you taking the time, of course, again and everything. So we only got like I would say like 10 minutes in last time. So it's not too bad. Make sure this is all right.
Still was a lot of good content. I think just in that small
That little,
10-minute time frame. Do you think?
yeah, for
I hope
sure.
so.
Yeah, I think so. But
Yeah. So before we started, I told Marquise that you guys will see me looking off to the side because there are some questions that I've pre-planned to have answers for to interesting on topic. I like to talk. I'm a talker, and I want to. It's pretty late right now, and so I want to make sure that we can get through what we need to get through, and just provide the audience with the information that's going to be beneficial to them. So,
gotcha.
you see me looking off. That's why I'm looking off. Yeah. Typically, I don't say anything though because I like it when people think I'm just a kooky person. Weird as hell. No, not really.
I like the preparation though. I like that. I like it. You probably one of the first few. Yeah, maybe one of the first few people that came like actually prepared and everything. So I like that.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
All right, so
I hope I can see on topic.
We'll try. We'll see. All right, so we're gonna get started. Just getting to know a little bit about you. So we got into this a little bit last time, but now we get to like really go in depth. So I'm gonna start off with your name, location, hometown, race or ethnicity, some fun facts about you, and then some interests outside of tech.
Okay, so my name is Shanara. We've already mentioned this right about the age, so I'm not gonna say anything about the age.
That's why I left it out this time.
Yeah, leave that out. Yeah, no age. Fun facts about me. So there are a lot. I mean, like after thinking about it, I was like, dang, I done did okay. Let me snap for myself because usually I don't say, it's like, oh, you just a regular person because we really are just all like regular people. But our last conversation had me thinking about, surely I've done more than just that one thing I've told him about. What else have I done? So I have done quite a lot of things that I'm really proud of. So, of course, like telling you about like Barney being my acting teacher, and acting was not really my thing. It was my mom's thing. My mom is a very shy woman, and in order to ensure that I didn't grow up feeling shy like she did, that was why she put me in acting school. And I just was lucky. We moved to Dallas, and she got connected somehow with the right people, and I ended up being at a studio called Dallas TV and Film Workshop, which is one of the top acting schools in Dallas. And so that's one of the things I'm really grateful for her doing for me, because I'm very similar to my mom. A lot of people, they display so much confidence, and I think I'm one of those people. I display a lot of confidence sometimes, but I'm super shy.
Yeah, I can relate to that. Yeah.
So but it gave me some skills that really helped me to be more empathetic with people. We did a lot of reading and things like that. So reading about other characters just helps you to empathize a little bit more with the plight of a human being. So that's one thing I did. Another thing I did I'm really proud of is I did choreography for the Dallas Mavs. The Dallas Mavericks dancers. Dancing was something I was really interested in, and I got started with that really late in my life. Most people start like at 3. I started at like 19, so I was super late with the dance thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and they still do my dance on the court, and it's been like over a decade.
Dang.
And so yeah, over a decade. I don't get paid for it. I got $250, and
I was
that was
about to say
it.
you
So
get some royalties or
no,
something.
no
Like this.
residuals. Unfortunately, no residuals. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wish that
Dang.
would be nice, right? Um, and then my hometown. So there's two, right? So Louisiana is one. I was born there in Baton Rouge. There's a little town called Plaquemine. I know everybody that hears a Plaquemine is gonna be like, ah, yay! I came from a really big family. So my dad had 16 brothers and sisters. My mom had 9 brothers and sisters. So our family is really huge, and it wasn't just in that generation. Like the generation before was really huge too as well.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so that's been a blessing too, just to learn how different people will behave. Everybody is not the same. But if you've grown up as an only child, and
Right.
there's been like, 3 or 4 people in your family, you don't get to witness all of the different
Yeah.
kinds of characters that can come out
Yeah.
in people. And so I got a chance to like witness that. And I was always very observant. I'm very interested in human behavior,
Mm-hmm.
and like, why do people behave the way that they do? That kind of thing. So that's one thing that having a big family taught me. It taught me about like the importance of family, and just having that community where you can go to, and you like, this is, we belong together, and you learn like how to cook certain dishes, or how to dance a certain way, and how to talk a certain way to different people. So it was just really, really fun growing up that way. And then, we spent half of our time in Dallas, half of our time in Dallas, the other half in Louisiana. So after we left Louisiana, I was about 3,
Mm-hmm.
and we moved to Dallas. And my mom was a go-getter too. I think I told you this the last
Yeah,
time
yeah,
too,
you
how up
did.
there. So we'll leave that story out. I think this is more important for people to hear besides that one story. But
All
she's a
right.
go getter. Like, we
Mm-hmm.
didn't come immediately when she came to Dallas. We came, I don't know, maybe a couple of months. But she worked at McDonald's, Burger King, and Wendy's to make it happen.
Yeah.
And we stayed with my grandmother until she could make it happen. And then we came here. And my dad is a really hard worker as well. So I learned the value of hard work from both of my parents.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, ethnicity and race. I'm Black. I am Black. Okay, but if you put it on my application though, and this is really, it really is a hack, and it's not lying. I mean, Hungarian and all these other things that whatever. But in
Mm-hmm.
America, I am Black, and very proud to be. But if it's for the nature of getting the job, and just to make sure that you get a chance to interview, it may be a good thing to include your other ethnicities and
Yeah.
races on your application. Like, don't shy away from that.
Mm-hmm.
Know about, like, how discrimination comes into play, and your name, and being discriminated
Yeah.
against immediately before even getting the chance to talk to someone and prove that you have the skills to do the job. So
Mm-hmm.
um, yeah, so there we go.
Yeah. No, I can tell you was prepared for that. You went through every
Yeah, it was
single
great.
thing. um.
But now you can see what I said. I love to talk. I do like
Yeah.
to talk.
No,
Yeah.
I like that. That's one of my favorite things about this is just letting people, share everything, share whatever they want to share. But you did miss one thing. I need your current
What I miss.
location. Your current
Oh yes,
location.
yeah. That's right. That's right. So right now I'm in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
So.
so yeah, so Florida. And so that is a very important part of the story, because I didn't plan to be in Florida. I planned to be in Dallas for the rest of my life. I love Dallas.
Mm,
Dallas is amazing. It's got amazing culture. Um, but I ended up in Florida. My mom moved to Florida. She came here to visit her best friend. She loved it. And she decided that she didn't want to come back to Dallas.
mm,
Like, Florida was it. And a lot of people move here for the weather.
yeah.
Her and my dad are entering retirement age. They're already there, and this was it. And so from the last story I told you,
Mm.
right? I think she knew he wasn't gonna come unless she left, right? Like if she don't leave, then she don't mean it. So,
Yeah.
and so he retired November of
Oh,
last year, very
November that
recently,
just
very
passed.
recently.
Okay.
Yeah, so she came here. She ended up getting sick while she was here,
Mm.
though, um, during the coronavirus time, and um, it was a family decision. We all had to decide, like, who can go there and help. And
Mm.
I was like, I'm not going. I'm
Mm.
not going. I'm doing great in Dallas. Like, no, no, no. And then, my dad still had, a couple years to complete for retirement.
Yeah.
So, my sister has 3 kids, and it's like, ooh, that's quite a bit, right? To have to,
Yeah.
um,
Move everybody and stuff.
do upheaval of your whole family and
Yeah.
changing that many different people's lives. So, again, like what I told you earlier, like family and that fabric of family and like being a community and like working together, that's been instilled in me since I
Mm.
was a little girl. And so, reluctantly, that's how we ended up here. So.
So do you see yourself going back at any points?
I do definitely see myself going back. I do. I have some land there.
Oh.
Um, so if I don't sell it, yes, I do plan on building my dream house there. It's been a long time coming and still a dream in works. But
Mm.
yeah, I hope to go back there. But wherever God leads me and wherever He thinks I should be, His will be done at the end of the
Mm.
day. I
I
hope
like
it's there though.
that. No, I like that you're like open to, even though you reluctantly went, you were still open to that experience to going out there, and at the end of the day, it's family. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of
Yeah,
people that would be like, I mean, they on their own or something like that, but like to
yeah,
right, exactly. But no, it definitely speaks to like your character and everything that you were like, okay, I'll make this move for the people that mean something to me. You know what I'm saying? I like that.
yeah.
Let me see if I. So we touched on your child acting. Oh, that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you ever see yourself getting back? Like before we go into your tech stuff, do you see yourself getting back into acting or anything?
No.
No,
Mm-mm.
no, you over
Mm-mm.
that?
No. No, I'm over it. Yeah, no, no. It's a lot of work. Like when
Mm,
you see the commercials, they go through so fast, right?
yeah.
But man, it took 3, sometimes 4 days to film
Mm,
a 30-second commercial. I was pulled
mm,
out of school a lot, and I think
mm,
for me, um, it was it was from second grade on. And
mm,
so I missed a lot of school. I missed building a lot of relationships. And also, too, I went to schools that were majority white. Like
okay.
we basically integrated the schools in the area. We were like the only 2 Black kids in the school, me and my
Dang.
sister at the time. And so, yeah, so being pulled out for acting and doing all of these commercials and things like that, the absences were approved, but it was a lot
Mm,
of work, I think, for a kid.
yeah.
um I think after a little bit, you kind of you grow your craft, kind of like how you're doing now. You get really
Hmm.
good at what you're doing, really good at doing interviews, really good at
Right.
like interviewing people for podcasts and coming up with topics.
Hmm.
So after a couple years, I mean, I started like really young, 7. So by 9, I was
Yeah.
their top performer. So anytime anything came up, it was
They
me,
just calling you up.
and
Yeah.
a couple other people.
Mm,
And so I lost a lot of childhood, not like that, but just like um, building the community that I felt like I could have built
mm,
in the
okay.
school system.
That's
Yeah,
interesting because
but
a
no,
lot of
no, nope.
yeah, you see you done with it, but a lot of people shit, I mean, when I used to watch like Disney Channel and stuff like that, I'm like, man, I want to be on one of these shows or something. But like, you don't realize how much work goes into that, and it
So
wasn't
much work.
until right. So like, I make
Hmm.
music too. So go ahead. Sorry.
No, go ahead. No, you make music. Yeah, yeah. Let's hear
Yeah.
about
So
that.
I make music, and part of that was like making videos and directing and stuff like that, and acting a little bit, I guess you would call it. But
Yeah, yeah,
that's just
yeah.
like a very, very small scale, and even that is a lot of work. So I can imagine
Hmm.
being 7, 8,
Hmm.
9, and being pulled out of school, and they got early morning call times and stuff like that. Like, yeah, I can see that being like, I had that experience, but now I'm over it. I can see that definitely.
Hmm. Yeah, I think it's very similar to music, right? Because
Mm,
they're both interconnected. It's
yeah,
entertainment, right?
right,
You can't really have acting without music, right? There's
right.
always some kind of a score that goes along with the script.
Hmm.
But look, after that Cat Williams interview, right? I told my mom. I remember telling my mom, I was like, "Mom would have not. I would never made it. They would have
Yeah.
ruined me. They would have ruined me." Okay,
No,
like I would be like, "What? Okay, like,
it's funny you
I
say
was
that
in the
because
wrong spots in the wrong places. Like, he did he what? Okay, like no, awful, awful. Yeah, but no,
yo,
I think that was definitely probably some God's protection because I would not have survived it. I
yeah,
would not have survived. And I think for me, growing up, I had a very naive personality,
mm,
very easy to believe people, right? Like what they said, because
mm,
I'm thinking of my own brain, not theirs.
right, right, yeah,
It was my uncle who's like very street smart, streetwise.
mm,
I don't need to say nothing else about that, okay? Enough, right? You understand? Street smart, streetwise, for real. And he finally told me one day I talked to him. I remember talking to him. I was like, "Oh my God, this has happened. This has happened." And he told me, "Stop looking for yourself in other people."
dang,
It was,
sheesh, yeah,
yeah, yeah. And it's still
yeah,
red. It's still penetrating to me because it's hard not to do that when that's
yeah,
your only experience, is who you are, right?
dang.
So, yeah, stop looking for yourself in other people.
We gonna get
Yeah.
in like your tips and stuff later, but that shit. I mean, shoot, that's a solid tip right there.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
before, it was one other thing that you touched on last time that I really liked that I wanted to bring up again. You mentioned working with the dyslexic. I'm trying to remember exactly what you said, but I'm gonna let you tell it.
Yeah.
That was like another
Yeah.
fun fact or interest outside of tech, I guess.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. So this is how I got into tech. The move to Florida was a part of it too. But so I started off as an English major. I went to Southern Methodist University in Dallas. So
Hmm.
I got a degree in English. You can't really do nothing with that, right? I was really good. I was good at it. I was like, "Oh, I'm good at this." I was really good at it.
Yeah.
And but I actually went and well, at first I went to go for law school.
Oh wow.
And so
Okay.
one of my professors said that English majors make the best law students because you gotta look at things, you have to analyze things, and
Yeah.
that's me. Like I love looking at things, analyzing things, taking things apart, figuring out
Mm.
why things work the way that they do. And so that was one of the reasons why I chose English as a major. Um, I was planning on doing journalism because I thought, oh yeah, I love that. I love reporting on the news. I could do really
Yeah.
good with that.
Yeah.
But it was gonna take too long. I was like, I'm not gonna. I don't want to spend 6 years in school. I'm done.
Right.
So I stopped. That. So I ended up doing the teacher educator program at SMU, and then I was accepted into. So I worked in Dallas ISD,
Hmm.
which I'm so grateful for because SMU prepared us so well. And just let everybody probably know. I mean, well, not everybody, they don't know, but SMU. So it's a pretty prestigious university. It's a private university. It's where the George Bush Presidential Library is located.
Okay.
Um, and I only applied to SMU because I was like, I ain't getting in this school. I don't qualify. I applied to SMU and LSU. So those are two schools. I only applied to two schools, and I did it on purpose because I was
Mm.
for sure I get into LSU and not SMU. I don't wouldn't have to argue with my parents about where I'm gonna go, right? So yeah, it worked out to where during the time when I was accepted to LSU, and we were down there like picking up my apartment, the letter from SMU came,
Oh
and my
wow.
dad opened the mail, and was
Parents.
oh, I hate them. Don't we hate? Can you hate them sometimes? I'm like, oh, mind your business.
Right.
Mind your business, please, sir. No, so he opened the mail and he called my mom. He said she got into SMU. Bring her ass
Had
home.
to, yeah.
God. Okay, fine.
Wow.
So it's like, dang, how? I wrote a what's the admissions? Like you have to write an essay. It was on
Yeah.
snowflakes. I did it in an hour. Like from 11 to 12 was the last minute. I was at my friend's house. We
Mm.
were partying. I was like, let me write on snowflakes real quick. Sand. I ain't gonna get in there. And I did. So it was really surprising. But you know, um, if you believe in a higher power, like I believe in God, I'm a Christian,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, I do believe that things are predestined, right?
Mm. Okay.
And so the way that worked out, it should not have worked out the way that it did, but it did.
Mm.
And I'm sure that there are like moments in your life where you can be like, "Dang, how did that happen?" Right?
Yeah.
Where you're like, "Oh, it shouldn't happen that way," but it did, right? So, and there's been a lot of moments like that have happened for me. So it's really difficult to deny
Mm.
that you know that God and Jesus don't exist for me. For
Right.
me,
Right.
not for
Right.
everyone. Everybody has a right to believe in who they believe in, but for me, those are that's who comes through for me.
Mm.
Um, so that's how I got there, and yeah, so I studied English.
Mm-hmm.
And so I went and I wanted to work in the inner city schools because that's where most of the Black people, people that are underserved,
Right. Right.
um, where they are. And I had a big passion for it, and I think I had a longing for it too, because I grew up in all white, all white area. Um, so I started off there, and it was ego. It was really ego. I was like, dang, you know what? I thought 100% of my kids was gonna pass, like my first year, and
Mm-hmm.
I got a bonus. I was like the only teacher that in the English department that got a bonus. I got a 10K bonus my
Dang.
first year. My ego was so inflated that was not enough. Like I'm like I only had like 80% pass.
Yeah.
What about the other 20%? So that sparked my desire to go back to SMU, and I got a scholarship to do ESL. And so I went to ESL, and that was great. I ended up getting to live in Cuernavaca, Mexico, and got to experience what it would be like to be a second language student. Um, and I cried. Marcus, I cried for like the first 2 weeks when I was there. Oh yeah, I cried. I was crying because they strip everything away. They want you to really feel what it's like to be a second language student coming to a foreign country and trying to make your way.
Right. Okay.
Um, yeah, yeah. And I was like, I almost paid for my own flight back home. I was like, I'm done. This scholarship, like I'll pay you back. It was so bad. It was terrible. It was terrible. But I ended up making it through, and that was good. And so my second year teaching, it was awesome. I got a bonus again, but only 90% of my kids passed. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
but the school system's like, you be happy, girl, yay,
Yeah.
hey. I'm like, like, what about these other 10%?
Right. Right. Right.
So here's what's really weird about that is that normally teachers will have a meeting. We have a meeting. We have meetings about the kids that we don't think are going to pass
Mm.
based on like the history. All of the kids that I picked out of that 10%, that second year that didn't pass, were kids that I picked that would pass.
Oh wow.
Like, how does that happen? Like, what? I'm not
Yeah.
dumb.
Like what's
Like, I'm,
different? Yeah.
yeah, exactly, exactly. So I ended up transferring districts, and then, which was great because I got more experience there. And then SMU was offering a new program that they had never offered before, and they called it a master's in linguistics, reading and writing. I was like, this is what I need. This right here is going to help me get these last 10%. I
Okay,
get my
right,
100%. Okay.
right.
I'm not okay with 80 or not. I'm not okay. Like my ego. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. Don't deflate my ego like that. Right. So that's how I ended up getting into dyslexia. And I remember my first week in the program, not my first week, but my first 3 days in the program, I told my professors, like, I'm not here for dyslexia. This said masters in reading and writing. Okay. And this
Mm.
ain't nothing about dyslexia. So this is not for me. Like, I'm in the wrong program. And they said, give us 2 weeks. Give us 2 weeks. And then after 2 weeks, you know, I was like, all right, I'm going to give you 2 weeks. You got 2 weeks. Right? I'm saying to Yale University professors,
Right.
Princeton, you got 2 weeks, girl. You
I
better get
get
it
to
together. Right? Yeah. So 2 weeks. Yeah, 2 weeks. It took 2 days, and I was
Mm.
in tears.
Oh
I was in
wow.
tears about the kids that I realized were dyslexic, but
Yeah.
I couldn't recognize it because I didn't
Yeah.
know
Yeah.
what
Yeah.
it looked like.
Dang.
Um, really interesting. So that's how I got into that. I have a foundation that I've started. There was one student in particular that truly touched my heart.
Mm.
And I can tell you the story about that later. But the foundation is named after him. He doesn't know it yet.
Oh
At one point,
wow.
I will tell him. He will know. But it's the Paul Foundation, and it stands for um, the privilege of advancing the underserved in language and literacy.
I like
Took me a
that.
long time to come with. I've been
I
working on
can't
that for the
wait.
last 2 weeks. So like I was trying to think, I'm like, what did I come up with? Because I come up with so many different things, but that's what it is.
Yeah.
So the privilege of advancing the underserved in academic, the privilege of advancing the
Hmm.
underserved in language and literacy.
Yeah.
Um, so the Paul Foundation, I had to come up with two L's because somebody else got the Paul. So that's
Oh,
where
I
it
see.
came.
Okay.
That's where it came from. And so this kid was so patient with me,
Mm.
so patient with me. So dyslexia is one of my passions because of the way that this eighth grader,
Mm.
his emotional intelligence that he had that I didn't have. In
Dang.
my early 20s, I had lacked. I thought I had enough. He had way more than I did. And he had
Wow.
way more than I did because of the experience that he had gone through.
Yeah.
And through him, I was learning how to be more accepting of people, how to understand other people. And so from that, I always said, I'm gonna have a foundation and I'm gonna name it. I'm gonna name it after him because
Damn.
that was my inspiration. Like when I went through the dyslexia program and I realized why my students weren't excelling, he had the biggest impact on me. And
Mm.
that was my third year teaching. And so
Damn.
coming to Florida, I ended up leaving like one of the best districts in Dallas, Garland ISD. Shout out, okay? Shout out to Garland ISD. If you're looking for a job, go to Garland ISD.
Mm.
Hands down, the best district in the DFW for real. Definitely go there. They really do care about their people. Like amazing, amazing, amazing people. Um, they want you to succeed. They want your students to succeed. If you ask for things that you need, they will give it to you. Right. Um, so I was there. It was so sad to have to come here after
Mm.
leaving there. I was like, well, I just got here, right? I don't want to leave. I don't want to leave. I love it.
Right.
So I ended up having to leave Garland to come here. And so from that, I had to find another job, right? So I looked for the salaries here. Florida, no, Florida, we
Mm.
have to do better. Florida was literally their teachers like 40K. No, boo. No, I
Yeah.
was making that like I was making more than that. My
Yeah.
first
Yeah.
teaching. And so
Dang.
I was not about to do it. Just
Mm.
like, nope, not doing it. And so I just got really lucky. So there's a new, with the coronavirus happening, they had to figure out a way to serve students with dyslexia and related disorders online. And we
Mm.
never had to do that before. And the curriculum is all copyrighted. You can't just put it up online and say, here it is, right?
Right.
There is like very stringent regulations and laws and rules that you have to follow. And so the company that I work for now, they contract with the lady that developed her mom developed the curriculum that I am a huge proponent of
Mm.
for not just students with dyslexia, but just students in general. Like there should be zero reading problems.
Mm.
Zero. We've got almost 80% of our prison population has a reading disability, which is
Yeah.
dyslexia. There's no other, if you can't read, it's dyslexia, right? Unless you have unless you have a um, like an intellectual disability, right? And even with intellectual disabilities, I've taught students with intellectual disabilities, we can still raise their
Yeah.
IQ, this
Yeah.
curriculum, right? So I'm a huge proponent of it. There should be no reason why anybody ends up in prison. We can do better as a society. And
Mm.
so, I mean, I was just really blessed and really lucky that the lady who created the curriculum, her daughter trained me.
Oh
Like,
wow.
yeah, she trained me. So how do you get you? It doesn't get any better than that. And now I get the privilege of taking her curriculum that was paper based and now making it digital
Mm.
to help people, not just in Texas where I was, but now around the
Yeah.
entire world. It's
Yeah.
international, which I'm oh, like that. That makes me really happy.
Yeah, that's
So.
crazy.
Um, yeah. Otherwise, I would have never have ended up in tech
Mm.
ever. But that's how I got here.
That's
And
it.
yeah,
You touched on a few things, a few future questions, honestly. But I guess it's a nice little segue into the next question. But yeah, you didn't get into that much last time. I don't think you got the chance to, honestly. But no, that's an
yeah,
amazing story. Like hearing that this eighth grader could touch you in a way that will inspire you and give you the motivation to kind of move in this path. You know, that's pretty cool. I like that. Later on, we're
yeah,
going to get into like where you see your journey going and where you see the Paul Foundation going and stuff like that. I can't wait for that. But you did start talking about this, so this is a nice little segue into like what do you do for how long, and if you feel comfortable. Some people don't want to share about like a salary or like salary range or whatever, but yeah. So like, what do
yeah.
you do and for how long?
Okay, I'm gonna say I'm underpaid. Okay, black people, we need to start sharing our salaries.
Yeah,
We need to
for
start telling each
sure.
other, "Hey, this is what I make." So we can help each other. I know I'm underpaid, but um, when you've been called, right? When you've been called to do something
Mm,
um, that's beyond money, it's difficult to go any other
yeah,
direction. And I've
yeah.
tried. I'm like, oh, mom, this is not enough money, right? But at the end of the day, it is, and it's so it's over 100K. Um, we'll leave it at that.
No, that's good. That's a good
100K
answer.
needs to be over 200, but it's over 100K, and I'm doing something I love. I work from home. It's all
Mm,
remote. Um, and I work at my own pace. I'm literally the only one on my team that knows anything about what I do.
oh wow.
Um, the influence that I have with the curriculum and with ensuring that it's going to be delivered with fidelity and that the information that the interventionist or the therapist has to ensure that they can remediate that dyslexia disability so we can prevent such an overpopulation of colored folks in prison.
Mm,
Like there what a to me there's no greater joy, right, than
yeah.
the love of Jesus, right, and what he did. To me, there's it's that, yeah, that's it. Like there's no greater love than that.
Mhm.
Second to that. And so I think for me, like I'm so emotional. Like I can feel my heart bursting when I talk about it
Mm.
still, and
No, that's
I've been
good.
doing it
You're
for a
passionate
while.
about
So
it.
I'm very passionate about it, and and I love it. So starting the ed tech, so I've been there for 2 years now. Since
Mm.
yeah, we just had a company wide meeting, and
Mm.
I got recognized for being there for 2 years. Yay!
Hey,
That's such a
good.
big deal. But that was awesome. They recognized us, and So that was fun and exciting, and just to see the places that we're going to go, and like to see like, oh my god, I'm making a curriculum, and it's up
Yeah.
online, and people are going to be using it, and it's going to make the jobs of our educators so much easier, because we
Mm.
get a lot of people that are dyslexia therapists, but they leave the school districts because they get paid more in a private practice,
Right.
right? So if you've heard about like reading levels and socioeconomic status, they correlate.
Mm.
So you're going to see a higher concentration of people who are low income that can't read,
Right.
right? Because
Right.
rich people, they can afford to pay me $100, $200 an hour to come in
Right.
and teach their one kid
Mhm.
to read, right? Um, so this is what's really important. I want the audience to know: reading levels and socioeconomic status, they correlate.
Mm.
So if we can get good reading instruction, like how can you even break into tech without reading,
Right.
right?
Right.
So
Right.
many, I still need to know like where I'm gonna put this colon and this semicolon and this. Am I gonna type append, or am I gonna type something else? For, if
Hmm.
it's in JavaScript or if it's in the
Right.
HTML, like it's so many. It's a language, right? It's a
Hmm.
language.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, so English is very mathematical, and people don't know that because they think that you're supposed to just learn it. Just we just pick it up, right?
Yeah.
But it's kind of like gymnastics. Like I can't do a backflip. I've got
Hmm.
to really like work at it, right?
Mm.
I mean, there's some people that it comes natural to, and the same thing with reading.
Mm.
So if you're not understanding reading and you have intelligence, you're intelligent, right? Don't
Yeah.
let anybody ever tell you that you're not intelligent, because that's not it. It's just a different way of learning, and
Right.
we don't have enough educators in the world that understand what it takes to teach someone with dyslexia to read. I
Mm.
mean, that's why we've got it's crime, and because they're trying to, if you can't read to fill out a job application, you can't
Yeah.
read. I can't even read to complete my driver's license
Yeah.
test, right? Like
Mm.
I got to read the street signs to drive. Um, and so, if your brain is
Wow.
processing that differently, yeah, it completely limits your opportunities. So, at the end of the day, we're not only fighting for reading, we're fighting for their quality of life that they deserve, that
Mm.
everybody deserves. Um, so, yeah, so yeah, something I'm really passionate about. And yeah, so that's how I got into it.
You just kind of blew my mind with that. Like, it's
Yeah.
something. I mean, I thought about this before to some extent, but like, you hear about now, like the reading levels are down and stuff like that, and you don't really think about that correlation. But hearing you say it, it just seems so obvious. Like,
So I would, yeah, yeah,
man.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you.
Yeah, here's the thing about that too. When you think about the
Hmm.
prison system is not. It's not like a federally funded program. It's a
Yeah.
privately
It's
owned
private.
business. So
Yeah.
I can pay you. This is slave labor, boo. I can pay you 2 cents to do whatever I need you to do because
Yeah.
you're now in prison. So there is no incentive for
Mm.
them to want to give the money that they know they should give to teach students how to read. There's no what's the incentive to it when I know that by third grade I can predict that you're gonna end up in my prison. And they won't admit that. They won't admit that. And even had arguments with my boss about it. With that are of different color, and they don't seem to think that it's an issue. It is an issue. When I can look at my, why else are you testing third grade readers? Why do you need to know where they are, if they can understand this word or that word, if they can read or not read? They are 7, 8 years old. Makes no sense for you to be determining that when they're that young. The only reason why the states need to know how a third grader is reading and how they're performing is because that's the earliest predictor of whether or not you're going to be able to like
Mm.
make any progress in reading. By third grade, if you're not making progress, we already know you won't make the progress. And so now we got to figure out where you are, and where the prisons are in relation to where
Where
you
you
are. So
can,
we have enough beds. Yeah, so we have enough prison beds for you when you're unable to, yeah, to read. And
mm,
so now imagine this, Marquise. Now I'm in school. How many hours a day? 8 hours a day. I come every day. Right? I'm really trying my best. Right? My mom works hard. If my dad is there, he probably work hard. If he not, then it's just me and my mom, or vice versa. Right? You got to say, hey, whatever. My grandma, whoever it is, and I'm here every day. And I go to reading. I go to math. I go to science. I go to history. I go to English. I go to art. Every single subject requires you to read.
damn.
And so when you can't, now you're getting
You feeling
mentally
everything.
abused. It's not,
Ah,
no, you're getting, the teacher's not going to admit that it's them. It's you. Why are you taking so long? Why can't you read this? It says it. Come on, we've gone over this 1,000 times. Now imagine that all day long. Emotional abuse sets in, right? And then now emotional abuse, anxiety sets in, depression sets in, and now we get the violence, the outbursts, and the anger, right?
damn.
And so yeah, and so that's something that we need to we need to have more voices around around that subject, because there's not enough. There's not enough. There's not enough. And so
Yo.
that's why so many people that are failing and ending up where they are unnecessarily. It literally is like it's an atrocity on human dignity. It's an atrocity on mostly colored people, black and brown people, black and Hispanic people, however you want to put it. It's an atrocity on our population the most, because, right, we don't have the financial resources that our white counterparts have, because they've had, like Chris Rock said, a 400-year head start
Mm.
in reading and academics, and then monetary and financial gain. So
All right, I need a second. Hold on.
yeah.
Oh man,
Okay, okay.
damn! You touched on so much just now. Like wow, it seems so obvious now, but like you said, every subject goes back to can you comprehend the problem? Can you comprehend what we're asking you to do right now? If you can't even do that, of course you're gonna fail all these other classes because you don't understand what's happening.
Yeah,
Like
yeah, yeah, yeah,
damn, and no wonder you're so passionate about because it is a direct correlation. And I've heard of stuff like that, like them using test scores and stuff like that to determine the size of the prison or however many prison beds and stuff they want to make. Like all
yeah.
right, so we got
Yeah,
real
but
deep.
there's a huge denial about it. They want to deny that that's even an issue. It's not. It's not. Okay, if it's not an issue, stop testing our third graders.
Right.
You don't need to know what they're reading. They've been in school how many years? 3, 4? They're kids. They're 7. They're 8. They just got here. Let them, like they got what, 70, 80, 90, 100 years for you to torment them in the workplace, right? And at the Walmart, like, give them, like, stop, enough. There's no other reason to do that. It's not.
Damn.
I mean, it makes sense to, yeah, test them, of course, but if you're going to test them because you're concerned, and you're going to get them the help right away, because
Yeah.
denial is denial. And the longer I delay your academic accommodations that I know can help you become a proficient reader, to where it will appear like you don't even have dyslexia or
Mm.
any other reading disability that they want to call it, then what's the point? At that point, I call it dystechia. It's not dyslexia, it's dystechia. It's your
Yeah.
inability to teach
To
this
teach
kid,
them. Yeah.
right? It's dyslexia. It's not dyslexia anymore. And so I think a lot of people need to know that. They need to understand that part of it. And but there's one story I do want to share. The older
Mm-hmm.
generation, they do it very differently from you and I, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so it's always their fault, right? One lady that I'm working with, she's in her 50s, Hispanic lady, bilingual, super smart, and reading disabilities, typically you can't tell anybody has a reading disability until they read. If
Yeah.
you're talking to them, there's no, you're like, oh, okay, yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, super smart. Yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah, oh, yeah. You're good, right? This is why I missed all those kids. This is why all those kids were in that group
No.
that these kids would pass,
Yeah.
right? This is
Yeah.
why I missed them, because when I would talk with them, they got it. But when I put words in front of them, they fell apart. And I
Mm.
didn't understand that, right? So that's why I was missing those kids. And so she told me a story, late 50s, um, of not wanting to let people know that she was dyslexic.
Mm.
Because she tried her best. She tried so hard to read, but she said that eventually the teacher made her stand on books or stand on a box and hold books on her hands, and she put dunce cap on her head, and she her
What?
made her watch the other kids play at recess until she could figure out how to read these words. And
Yo.
so we have a lot of people too that will deny that their kids have an issue so that they don't experience that kind of abuse, right? So
Golly.
it's a lot. It's so much. It's so much, and this is why I'm so passionate about it, because it's not because it's us. It's my people. It's my people, and it's not just my people. It's people that can't afford to pay for these
Mm.
services. They can be any color, right? But historically, it's people that are black and brown historically. But whoever it is, no matter what their color is, if I can help them or if anyone can help them, then let's do it and figure this out. Otherwise, we're going to continue to have these issues and these private corporations that are paying our prisoners 2 cents an hour to do whatever they're doing out in the fields,
Yeah.
like modern slaves, instead of inventing the cure for the common cold that we should have had 1,000 years ago. But because that person's down in prison, I mean, it slows our society down.
Yeah.
It slows our society down. And you think about the people who we know that were Albert Einstein, was dyslexic. Thomas Edison was dyslexic. We've got so many people that were super smart
Mm.
that we know were dyslexic. And look at, Albert Einstein is like, when you say his name, it's like, oh, he's the smartest person in the world. Okay, but
Yeah.
he's one that was believed to be dyslexic. So yeah, that's why it's so important to me. And so the technology piece of it, um, it really intrigues me. I remember in my grad school, my professor had a niece that she found out was dyslexic,
Mm.
and she was trying to, um, you know, get like information and tips from us. Like, okay, what can I do? Because she lives in another state, and I got to figure out how to, and so how to teach her, because there was no one near her that could do it. And so,
Yeah.
we give her tips. We can give her, to do this, do this, do this, do this. This has been a long time coming, and to
Mm.
say that it's just happened like 2 years,
Mm.
to a couple of years. I mean, we're really behind. We're
Yeah.
really behind.
Wow. Well, a lot of what you're saying remind me of this thing that was like, if you teach a fish how to climb a tree, it'll fail or something like that. Like basically along the
Yeah.
lines of, the way we
Mhm.
judge intelligence, I guess.
Yeah.
So a lot of what you're saying
Mhm.
kind of reminds me of that. That's damn. You
Mhm.
you got me really thinking over here. We could probably have a whole conversation just on this.
Yeah.
But I do want to
Yeah.
know. So what you say?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah, I always tell people, don't ask me about what I do, okay? Because I will talk you to sleep about it, and when you woke up, I will still be talking, okay? Don't do it. I should have warned you. Don't do it. Don't
no,
ask
no,
me.
it's good. You got into a lot of stuff, a lot of useful information for sure. So your job now, you are providing a curriculum through tech. So are you like coding it, or are you creating a website for it? Like how? What's your position right now? Like how does that work?
Yeah. So, a learning programs developer. So, I am taking the paper pencil curriculum that we use to teach dyslexia, remediate that deficit with reading, and incorporating it into a digitized platform
Wow.
that dyslexia interventionists and therapists can use, so that they can, teach their students. They can do it in a shorter amount of time, and we can remediate the deficits a lot quicker
Mm.
versus the paper-based curriculum. It takes
Yeah.
forever.
Yeah. I bet.
And it takes forever. Just even the process to identify someone with dyslexia, it takes forever. It could take forever, and schools don't, they typically don't want to identify someone with dyslexia because they typically don't apply for special education, because in
Mm.
order to be dyslexic, you have to have average to above average intelligence. And so it's baffling to people why you're struggling with reading when your
Uh,
intelligence,
okay.
yeah, you see, yeah, huh. So we
Yeah.
can't just stick you in special ed when your intelligence is showing that you're not supposed to be there, right? So you're just gonna have to go to class and like suffer it out and hope that you get a teacher that understands English. um, and so I think that one of the conversations we had was about like statistics and math and stuff. I told
Mm-hmm.
you I suck. Um, I'm terrible. This is no, I've been terrible. It's not, like it's not something that's just started. Like since
Mm.
I was younger, I was like, ooh, I can't add 2 plus 3. What is that? I don't know. I'm counting on my fingers. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I got 5, right? That, I mean, I'm really serious. Like I'm so bad at math.
Mm.
But when I took the dyslexia class, um, I remember realizing like, dang, English is so mathematical.
Mm.
Everyone says, oh, it's the hardest language to learn. Yeah, but you don't know the mathematics behind it. It is so mathematical. So the way that I teach any student with dyslexia how to read is through equations. It's an equation that they're able to look at the word and apply that equation to the
You're
word
bringing
and
it.
figure it out.
Yeah.
It's so mathematical. Whereas, people that are not dyslexic, like me, I don't know you, but me, I'm gonna just me at least. I don't need no equation. Like I get it, got it, done, right?
Mm.
But they need equation, and so a lot of my students have grown up to. They are engineers.
Mm.
They are people that don't need to have to read so much. Like they always excelled at binary code. I had one student that could see a whole motor of a car in his head. He could twist it around. He could hear the sounds that a car was making, and he knew exactly what part to get and
Damn.
what he needed to do to fix it. And it was
Wow.
always accurate 100% of the time, right? Those are abilities that we don't have. So these are this is advanced brains. So if we can get our students that have these reading disabilities to then be able to read at the same time, right? We can put those two things together. This is an advanced brain. And I think that it could pose a potential like uh threat. A bit of a threat to a lot of people. Um, but if they understood the emotional intelligence that dyslexic people have, or people that with learning disabilities that have been through things that
Mm.
they have, then they wouldn't be so threatened, right?
Mm.
They are the emotional intelligence. I told you about my student Paul. The
Yeah.
emotional intelligence that an 8th grader taught me when I was, I'd already gone through school. I'm already 3 years in,
Yeah.
right? This baby 13. Like, boo, I'm like 20 something. What? I'm like,
Yeah.
whatever, older than you, no more. No. His emotional intelligence was so far advanced above where I was, right? It's embarrassing
Mm.
because of what he went through. And so it's just different things like that, nuances that you don't know
Yeah.
about people, that where it can make you feel threatened and feel like they're going to take over, or they're going to take your job. And there are people like that, but in general, no.
Damn.
No.
You. Nah, I gotta give it up for you real quick, because you really out here like changing lives. Because for
Oh,
real though,
thank
like
you.
I'm saying it in a joking way, but like for real, like you really are. Like you said, some of those people could have easily ended up distraught and just so beaten down because they couldn't grasp what to other people might be a simple concept. So that it's
Hmm.
real easy to become angry at the world, go
Yep.
robbing, stealing, doing all types of stuff. But you got people becoming engineers and like reaching their potential by
Yeah.
unlocking this thing for them. Like that's I love that, yo. That's what's up.
Yeah,
Man.
yeah, that's their thing. That's their thing. I mean, they end up being able to be proficient in reading, but reading is not their thing. It's a difficult thing for them. It takes them a long time. It takes a lot of like cognitive
Mm,
exertion. You know, it's a cognitive overload for them.
mm,
So if they can deal with numbers and zeros and ones all day, oh, they're good.
mm.
Like they're good. Let me design something. Let
Right.
me make something. Let me do let me do some art contest kind of things, or
Yeah.
so that's where they excel in those areas more so than with language, and that's across the board in any language, not just English.
Mm,
Dyslexia does not discriminate. It doesn't
mm,
matter what color you are. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't
mm,
matter what language you speak. It occurs in every society,
mm.
and so we just need to know the exact instruction to implement and how to implement it, and to do it quickly.
Right.
Because when you don't do it quickly, that's when it becomes a cost. Um, to I think it more so a cost to the society as a whole,
Society. Right. Right.
society as a whole, but it's a benefit to a few individuals.
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
that's this is why I love doing these things. Is I never ever would have guessed that you would have taken your English degree, your knowledge that you gained teaching people, and you call it ego, but really I just call it you wanting to be fully successful in what you're doing, which most people would want to be that. So that extra 20%, the extra 10% of kids, you like, what is it about these kids that they're not getting it? And so instead of just settling for that, you're like, all right, let me keep educating myself. You got into these opportunities, these programs, and we're going to get into more like specific about your schooling and everything. But going to the grad program and learning about dyslexia and then being open to hearing this kid out and all these different things combined got you into tech and got you doing what you do. Like who would have saw that coming? So like here, yeah, this is why I love
Right.
doing these stories.
Yeah, I saw
Right.
it.
There you
Predestined, baby. It's predestined. Yeah, he knew. He knew. He knew.
go.
I could not have written this story on my own.
Mm.
Um, if I had it my way, I was going to be Beyonce. Okay, I was gonna be a Destiny's Child. Um, and I would have been. I was in like a Just for Me commercial
Mm.
with um with Latavia. We were
Oh,
really
oh.
young. Yes,
Mm.
very young. And so from that Just for Me commercial, that's how she ended up getting the part. And
Dang,
yeah, so
that's
yeah, yeah.
crazy. Mm.
Yeah, my story. I was like, I don't want to be a singer, but yeah, no. I'm really grateful that it worked out this way.
Mm.
Again, my personality, really shy. There are things I can do in private that I
Mm.
cannot do in public. Like it's
Yeah.
just like it's almost like God's like, we gonna act like you can't do. It's like no, she can do that. That's not what she can do. But outside of that, it's like like she sound like Ariel.
Mm.
Like, but like in public, no, it just it stopped. Um, and so, sometimes we try to fight against those moments when you're like,
Mm.
what you want to do,
Yeah.
right? And you can do it and it's possible, but is that really where you would be best served?
Mm. I like
I feel
that.
like I have such my singing voice is so much stronger for dyslexia than it would be for
Mm.
me singing about hair and being pretty, being a diva.
Damn,
So,
that's powerful. I like how you put that. So, all right, so you were teaching, and then you got into this now. I got to know. The next question is what or who got you interested in tech? Why this field? So
yeah.
you, we know that you're passionate about English and dyslexia and helping people in general when it comes to that. So where did the and you mentioned earlier that you're curious about like how things work and stuff like that, which is something in common that everybody I've interviewed pretty much that has some type of technical aspect to them has had that. So where when did you like where did that come from? Like what made you like, okay, I see this curriculum, I gotta turn this into this. Like what got you interested in the tech side of that?
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, presenting on dyslexia is something that I'm good at. Like, I'm really good
Mm,
at doing it. God has given me, He's blessed me with the ability to be able to speak on it intelligently and to really influence people, right?
mm,
To understand why it's so important. And so I had a boss that recognized that in me just from one interview. She
mm,
interviewed me for a position at the tech company that I ended up turning down because it required 25% travel, and I couldn't do it at the time with my mom being sick.
yeah.
Um, but I kept reaching out. It's like, okay, dang, I missed that. I missed the
Mm,
promotion. Like, dang. So like, every 3 months I would reach like, hey, what can I do? Is there something I can do to, I'm really interested in growing with the company. I'm really passionate about what I do. Is there any other leadership positions, right? Like
mm,
I've been in the game for a long time. I'm really good at what I do. I get really good feedback, but I want to grow. How can I make my knowledge be more impactful on a
mm,
grander scale?
mm,
Um, and so, she in July of last year, she reached out to me and said, "Hey, there's another colleague of mine because dyslexia is really small. It's a small world. Like we know,
mm,
like we know everybody.
yeah,
Like it's not like so big to where you're kind of like, oh, that's so we know, hey. No, it's like, oh, I
mm,
know you.
mm,
That's how small it is, right? My colleague, she couldn't do it. She went back to school to get her degree to be able to train other dyslexia, to train teachers to become dyslexia
right,
therapists.
right, right.
Um, and so she couldn't do the presentation. And so she
Mm,
said, hey, I remember interviewing Shanara. I think she'd be a great presenter. And she and I had served on the International Dyslexia Association board together, and she'd seen me present, and she said, "Yeah, she's perfect."
mm,
And so it's still it's my ace boon coon to this day. Okay, ace boon to this day. We're very professional with each other. But we have there's a line there, right? Like we're
mm,
really good friends. We do everything, but hey, girl, no, you got to do this. Like we're very much so about growth,
mm,
growing each other, and not just making the money, throw it up in the air, kind of a thing. And so it's just because she vouched for me. She
mm,
vouched for me,
mm,
and so they asked me to present. And I had to use some of the students that I had worked with on the platform, right? So I was on the front end side, like where they'd already developed the platform.
okay, okay.
Yep. And so since I was very familiar with the curriculum, I knew what to do. And I was always like, this is wrong, fix this error. Hello, this is wrong. This is not the correct rule. This is you're messing my students up with this saying this,
Right.
like that's not what that's supposed to say. And so I think they recognized that. I was very detailed, maybe a little bit um, annoyingly detailed. But you gotta be, right.
Yeah,
You gotta be when you're remediating a disability. You have to
yeah,
be because otherwise they're not picking it up. They're
right,
looking at what you're saying and that's what they're thinking.
yeah.
Um, so I think she recognized that. So they said, "Hey, we need you to present at this conference," um, and so they told me what they wanted me to present on. And so I had to go into the system and I had to like average also here come the math.
Mm,
Average all these scores from 2 years. I'm like, what? I write these numbers down and do what? I'm like, okay, wait a minute. Hold on. Okay, then I'm cleaning data and I'm not realizing this is what I'm doing. Like, I can't use this. This is not, no, this is
yeah.
not because his mom yelled at him that day, and I heard her on,
Mm,
online, and he was not happy, so he didn't do very well with that one. So, like
yeah.
deleting out. certain practices that I knew weren't going to help to really present the data the way that it should be presented. Like I'm doing all of this kind of ETL pipeline kinds of things, but I'm
Mm.
doing it without knowing that I'm doing it. I'm doing it um, paper pencil, right?
Mm.
So I created a presentation from that, and then they helped me to develop like different visualizations to do the presentation. And I was like, oh my God.
Mm.
Ooh. I saw all the warm and fuzzy started coming on, like, whoa, what is this? Like a new, like, okay, new level unlocked. Okay, one up, right? And so that feeling came. I was like, dang, like, wow. When
Mm.
you can see the progress happening when you're teaching the students. You can see it, but you can't really see it,
Mm.
if that makes sense, right? You
Yeah.
can see it, but you can't really see it. And so you hear, like, if you're a really good dyslexia therapist, you hear a lot of students saying how good you are and how much you've changed their lives. And in a short amount of time too, like sometimes it's unbelievable. Like I had a student I have in 12th grade. I was like, dang, how you just get diagnosed, girl? Because she's got stealth dyslexia, that she's smart enough to outsmart the teachers.
Mm.
So they didn't. She was smart enough to outsmart them to where they didn't realize she had dyslexia, but she's underperforming. So when she's
Mm.
making 70s and then and 50s, when she should be making 90s and hundreds, because she doesn't, right? She's really accommodating on her own. That's stealth dyslexia.
Yeah.
So her mom realized that she had dyslexia. Her mom knew because she worked in the school district. And, so she was diagnosed this like almost like the second semester of her senior year.
Mm.
And this girl came in, and it can feel so degrading to them because we have to start all the way back at the kindergarten level. I got to
Yeah.
make sure that whoever your kindergarten teacher was didn't miss the A, B, C, D,
Mm.
and the diagraph TH, and all of these different rules
Yeah.
um, from kinder to 12. That's a lot of work. And so I was like, just be patient with me. We just have to make sure. I can't assume that that this A is going to say this when we know A makes 5 different sounds in the English language. And you've got to know the rule in which it's
Yeah.
going to make that
Then
sound
it's
in
gonna.
order to
Yeah.
be able to read it. And if you
Yeah.
don't know the rule, you're just going to be guessing,
Mm.
unless you can figure out the pattern, right? So I had to ask her to be patient with me. And so I started with her in like October. And by November, she was making 90s.
Mm.
I said, okay, now look, I know I'm new here. You don't got to do no favors for me. She's like, no, she's like, I'm for real. She's like, I don't know what you and her doing with her, but it is working.
Mm.
It is working. But it was a combination of what she already knew plus what I knew to do to help her get there that helped us to see that amount of growth.
Right. Right.
Right.
Right. Yeah.
But I couldn't see that. It was unbelievable to me.
Mm.
Like, how do you go from making 50s to
So
90s?
yeah.
95, 99. This teacher just trying to help me keep my job because y'all ain't had no dyslexia for 5 years. She's like, don't make sure she don't quit. Make sure she don't quit. Like,
Yeah.
my principal, like, hey, you better do whatever she's telling you to do because she quit. Then we out of radical um, so it's been many years where you'd hear that good feedback, but you don't believe it because you don't see the data. It's
Yeah.
like,
You can't quantify it like that. Right.
nope, you can't quantify it, and you don't
Yeah.
have time to quantify it, despite the
Right.
fact that we have, it's old school stuff though. Like
Mm.
old school grade book stuff. Like
Yeah.
add this plus this minus this, put this.
Yeah.
Like I ain't got time for that. I had to make a lesson plan. And Johnny and Daquan about to come in here right now, upset because they just came from so and so English class, and she done called them out in front of everybody, and I got to
Yeah.
calm them down, like right. So I don't have
Yeah.
time for it. And so being able to have that data on the platform, and it was only daily. Like it would give me just daily data. It didn't even give
Mm.
me like a weekly. It didn't give me like a quarterly, a 6-week, a yearly. I had to go in and put all that together
Day
to
by
get that.
day. Yeah.
Yeah. And so that took time. But then when we put it all together, and I had more than, I mean, I had like a lot of students.
Mm-hmm.
It was hard to deny. It was hard to deny that, dang, this really did work. Right? Like how he go from first grade to a fourth grade level in
Yeah.
3 months,
Yeah.
right? So that was hard to deny. And so that's what really got me interested in data analysis, in data science. And
Mm.
so I started in a data science boot camp at my alma mater, SMU.
Mm-hmm.
And I went there because I trusted them. I knew that I had gone there for grad school, undergrad. I knew that if I
Yeah.
go here, I'm going to get a
You
good
know.
education. Like, they're very serious about um, how they teach their students and their reputation.
Yeah.
And a lot of people are like, are you gonna pay all that money and all that? Like, yes,
Mhm.
because I know that I'm gonna get a quality education.
Yeah.
Um, and it has not failed me. My professor, shout out to Alexander Booth. He is the assistant director for the Texas Rangers. So they won,
Oh
right?
wow. Yeah.
You know how they won? Because of data science. So, like, if you see the baseball players taking their hats off and looking down and putting it, like, if you seen them doing those weird things, I
Mm-hmm.
thought they were like Tourette's or like some kind of a tick or something, like, oh, okay, yeah, yeah, you got to do that, and it gets them back in the mode. No,
Yeah.
there's data that's preloaded into their hats, so they can look and they can see like what the wind speed was, anemometer speed, information
Wow.
about whoever they're pitching against, so that
Mm.
they can look down and they see and they can put it in there ready, right? So
Dang.
now you see, when you didn't think the Texas Rangers were going to win, they have one of the best people who was really good at doing that data science and data analytics kind of stuff that helped
Mm.
them to win the game. And so, yeah, so I'm really lucky that I had that opportunity and the chance to be a student in his class. And so I have applied to continue on to receive my second master's from SMU in data science and
Wow.
AI, machine learning, and anything else they can teach me that's going to help me to,
Mm.
continue on. It's domain, right? It's domain knowledge. It's not really about the data science. Do you have the domain knowledge? Where is your expertise lie? It could be in making notebooks.
Mm.
Okay, that's your domain expertise. Cool. You can apply that to data science. Get in there and learn. Get in there
Yeah.
and learn, because it doesn't matter. We need data runs everything, right, in our society. So
Mm.
no one should be afraid or unsure about whether or not they have the skills to do it. It's difficult. Yes, it's difficult. You got to put in a lot of work,
Yeah.
a lot of work, especially if you're not a math person like me. But if you have that passion in your original, domain knowledge, it's going to push you forward to figure
Mm.
out the secondary part of it for data science. So that's how I
You
got.
are you are very impressive. I'm gonna just say I'm looking at my notes. By the way, when I'm looking down, looking at my notes. But nah, that's crazy. So it's like because I was curious how you got from English to putting together these programs and everything. But it goes back to that hunger that I always call it like an inquisitive spirit, where it's like, okay, I
Mhm.
see this thing is providing me this type of information. How can I use this to my advantage? What is this? To even know that, okay, I need to go study data science. Even making
Yeah.
that correlation, it takes some level of like, what is this? You know what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
that's impressive, for real. Two
Yeah.
masters that we gonna get into your school. I got one more question before we get into your school, but
Okay.
yeah, no, you're impressive. So
Thank
the next
you.
question is for sure. I mean, you kind of already answered this, but it's like, was tech always your original plan? Which I can tell it wasn't. Originally, it
Mm-mm.
was English and journalism.
Yeah,
Um,
I failed
but-
statistics twice. I can't even say it. Statistic.
yeah, I can see.
I got it. Whatever it was, shoot. Statistics with a D twice, and I really tried my best. Like, I was
Mm,
not just, I wasn't slacking off. I was
mm,
really trying. I'm like, this makes no sense.
yeah.
It made no sense. It just didn't.
Right. I
Even
mean,
algebra, I remember like I was terrible at algebra. Um, and you know, at the end of the day, it really could be about the quality of the educator that you have. Because I remember
yeah.
in 10th grade, I could not, like, I didn't get nothing that lady was talking about in geometry. I'm just like, what is she even saying? I don't even know. So she
Man.
sent me with a student tutor. And I went to this girl's house, and her parents like made this awesome, I don't know, with a rigatoni spaghetti dinner. I'm not gonna forget that. It was so good. And we went to her office, and this 10th grader taught me in 5 minutes the sand, the 10, and the cosine. 5 minutes. He taught me. And I was like, dang, is that easy? Like,
Mhm.
what? Okay, got it. Boom, 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 boom. She was like, dang, you boom, 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 got it. So I went back. The next day we had a test. So my English, my geometry, she was at her wits end. Like, it was like, I don't know. I don't know why it's not clicking. It's just not. And so she gave everybody the test. I made 100.
Oh
And she said,
wow.
what did you do? And there is like three people in the class. They always make hundreds. They didn't make 100 on that
Mm.
test. I was the only one that did. And she said, what did she do? I was like, I don't know. She just taught me the rule, and I got it. Right. It's so at the end of the day, it's that lesson just was, it taught me that everybody can't teach. Everybody doesn't know how to teach you. They don't have the
Yeah.
skills to adapt to the way
Yeah.
that you may learn. They may not have the mental capacity to do so either. Cognitive overload, it's a real thing, right? It's real. Some you get overloaded. I'm tired. I need to take a nap. I can't worry about this
Mhm.
right now. Other things going on. I'm overloaded, right?
Yeah.
But it's a skill, and she had it, and I don't know how it was like. Why does she not? Why don't she just say that? Like,
Right.
like, and she was like, hey, you did this, this, and this, and this. She just taught me 3 simple rules. And I
Mm.
was like, are you for real? I was like, okay, boom, got it, got it, got it. So that helped me to know. That was one of the earliest indications that I knew I could do math. I knew I could
Mm.
do it, but I hadn't yet associated it with the quality of the educator, right?
Right. Okay.
Because because you respect your teachers.
Yeah.
You think that they know
They know what they're.
everything,
Yeah.
always right. They gonna get it right. They know all the answers, but that is not true. That is something I would always tell my students: is I don't know everything. I will be wrong, and if you catch me, call me out because
Mm.
I'm willing to grow, and
Mm.
it's okay. I'm not always right. I remember my first teacher said, "Make sure you tell the students when they open their little journals that they only write on the left side, because if they write on the right side, that means that's where the teacher writes, because the teacher is always right." I was like, I'm not doing that.
T-shirt.
Because I'd already know I'm gonna be wrong the second day of school. I'm gonna say something wrong, and the kids gonna call me out because I work in the inner city school, right?
Yeah.
They don't let you. They don't mean like
Not at
miss.
all.
I'm like, you wrong. You didn't get that. They do not. They don't
Yeah.
let up on you. So I was like, I'm
Right.
not doing it. Y'all can do that though. I ain't doing it. Not gonna do it. So yeah, but yeah, no one is always right.
Mm.
We all make mistakes, but I think that's one of the things that parents and students and just people in the world in general think that because you're an educator and you're a teacher, that
Yeah.
you've been taught in a manner to where you know what you're doing,
Hmm.
but a lot of times you don't.
Yeah.
You are winging it on the fly, and I say
Right.
this as an experienced educator. You are winging it at
So do
every
you?
moment. Yeah, go
Quick
ahead.
follow up question off of this: do you think that?
Yeah.
And I mean, you probably already made this connection, but do you think your experience with learning math helps you empathize
Mhm.
more with people learning English? Because English might have been something that came easy to you, but math wasn't, and you learned that it's the quality of the education as much as it's the effort of the teacher or the knowledge of the teacher to be able to teach you a certain way. You learned
Mhm.
something in let's say 30 minutes or something like that somebody was trying to teach you all year or whatever. Do you think
Yeah.
that that type of experience made you more empathetic when it came to teaching kids
Mhm.
with dyslexia?
Yeah, that's a great question. I had not thought about that before.
Really,
I
really.
have not. No, I didn't. I have not thought about that before.
Wow.
So yeah, I mean, I think it probably did have something to do with it. Um, I think there were other things too as well that had something to do with, um, the level of emotional intelligence that I have.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, like people, you know how you can look at people like don't judge a book by its cover.
Hmm.
I always get when you talk like a white person or and you get these. But that's not where I came from. Like if the town that I come from, like our houses are on bricks.
Mm.
Hey, they on bricks. You can crawl up under it, maybe a trailer. Like it's not. And so coming from that experience and seeing my parents work very hard to get out of
Mm.
that situation, but also sending us back so that we can see
Yeah.
the the dichotomy between the lives that you can have.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, I feel like that was more so a bigger influence on my emotional intelligence and how I treat people
Mm.
than anything else. But I think to your question, yeah, I think that also was an influence too, for sure. Yeah, for
Hmm.
sure. I think maybe at that age I wasn't able to connect it though,
Right. Right.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it took a little time before I was like, dang, I remember that time when, and
Mm.
now I see like it connects to what I'm doing now in the position where my former teacher was,
Yeah.
to a student who was in my position, some
Right.
years.
Right.
Um, but yeah, that's a good question.
Thank you. No, that's good. As you were talking, I'm like, okay, I see the parallels here. Let me. I just assumed that you probably already peeped that, but no, that's cool. I'm glad we can make that connection. Um, but no, I love a good. It's easy. Like for me, I knew I was gonna do something with tech. It's kind of easy when you know your route, but when you do
Yeah.
that pivot and you're not even sure, like you say, like you're the only person that really has your knowledge at your company, at your in your position and
Mhm.
everything.
Mhm.
Being able to kind of will yourself to these opportunities and being open to let me get a master's in data science, like just to kind of advance this stuff that I'm already passionate about, like that type of mindset, being able to pivot, being open to opportunities and stuff like that. I feel like that makes the difference in a lot of people, and it really shows your character and your confidence in yourself to be open to that type of stuff. You know what I'm saying? I love that. I love that so much.
Yeah, thank you.
Um, so all right, we got into your school. There's a couple things I wanted to double back on. So you went to SMU. Um, you mentioned ESL earlier. I wanted you
Mm.
to let me know what that means. And
Yeah.
I want to expand on your school in general. So, like, where did you go to school? You have a couple.
Sorry.
Oh, you're good. You're good. So I want to know where you went to school. I know you have a bachelor's, multiple masters. So I want to know like what those are in. And then after this, the second part of this question is, what do you do to gain knowledge now? As
Mhm.
you're trying to learn new stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, so all of my experience in school was SMU.
Hmm.
So my bachelor's is there. My master's is there. My ESL degree is from there. Also, is a
So,
master's
so
program.
what's can you just say what ESL stands for?
Yeah, of course, yeah. So people would know that as English as a second language, or they
Okay.
may know it as English for speakers of other languages or
Mm.
English language learners. Like they always
Okay.
change the acronyms. So it's one of those three things.
Okay.
Um, and so, yeah, so all my experiences as SMU, I did a few reading courses
Excuse me.
at, dang, what's the name? Okay, TWU, which is Texas Women's University.
Okay.
Um, but just it was just a few, and it was sponsored by the school district at the time. Um, and then, but yeah, all of my experience is from SMU, and
Mm.
then but the data science boot camp. So here's this is really important, I think, because there's so much. information floating around out there, don't you think about boot camps, right?
Yeah.
Like, what's your opinion on boot camps? Let me hear what you think.
I'm a fan of boot camps as long as it's the right one. So right out of school, I didn't feel prepared, unlike you. So
Yeah.
I did a coding boot camp, and the way theirs was they pay you to train you, and then they contract you out for 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
It's like enterprise level training. So I'm very thankful for my boot camp experience, but I know that it could be a little iffy. So I tell people to, if you're going to do a boot camp, make sure you're looking into it. Look at the reviews. Look at what they're offering. If is it paid or are you paying them? What are you actually getting out of it? Like, really do your diligence when it comes to boot camps. But from my experience, I'm a fan of them.
Yeah. Yeah. Good. That's good. That's good.
Mm,
Yeah. I think. I mean, no. I know. I agree with everything that you've just said. Um, so the boot camp, and it's really expensive. So the boot camp that I am attending through SMU is through what do they call them? Two. It's like a number two edu, two edu, something like that.
okay.
But it's the same boot camp as like the MIT and I think UT Austin also
Mm,
has the same programs, right? For me though, I was like, well, I'm just going to do SMU because MIT sound good though, don't it? Like, hey, I'll put that on my resume. But for me, SMU just was. I like to be consistent. I mean, I'm
yeah.
like a your habit.
Yeah. Me
And so I was
too.
like, yeah, just want to be consistent with everything. And so I think that quality about me, it really worked out to my favor because um, now that I'm transitioning into the Masters of Data Science in SMU. They're going to
Hmm.
take my boot camp credits and
Oh,
yeah, right. So
yeah.
I'm not even done yet. Like I just started the boot camp in September. I was ready to start in June. I'm like, come on, why we gotta wait? I'm like, I'm ready. I just did a presentation. Come on, what's going on? I was so excited about it. So I had to wait till September. The anticipation was there. I was so excited about it.
Mhm.
And so we're about to be done in March, at the end of March. And then at the end of April is when my data science courses will start. And so
Okay.
they're going to take my boot camp experience. SMU will, at least. I'm not sure if like MIT and the other universities that partner with the two edu, and I can send it to you. So in case like if anybody that's watching the show
Yeah,
wants more,
I could put it up there. Yeah.
yeah. But I know for sure SMU, they will take. So I've got 6 credit hours
Mm.
through SMU from the boot camp, which is
Mm.
a wonderful because
Yeah.
SMU is expensive. It's a private university, and they
Mm.
don't play about their money, right? Like they're expensive. Like when I was going there, the population was less than 1% black, and everybody
Dang.
there had money except
Yeah.
for me. Like, they were rich. Okay, Courtney Kardashian went to my school. That's how
Oh, yeah.
right.
Yeah.
It's a
Okay.
lot of money, and hence why I didn't think I was gonna get in.
Mm.
That poor, the poor trailer park girl. Like, I'm like, nah, yeah, this is the one. Yeah, I'm gonna outsmart Jesus.
Yeah.
Not, ugh, right. So, yeah. So it's expensive.
Mhm.
But so they're going to take the 6 hours. And so the way that the program is designed is that instead of going by like how, we're used to like semesters and semesters,
Yeah.
it's by trimesters. So we have
Mm.
2 classes every trimester. So since I've done this boot camp already, I will be done in about a
Mm.
year. Yep, in
Right.
1 year with my master's in data science. And another thing too that they offer at SMU, and it's probably, I mean, I don't see it being any different from any other prestigious university because right, they're going to be competing for you
Mm.
to attend their boot camp through this organization over another
Yeah.
one because it's all
Yeah.
online. Like
Mm.
um, so they also offer scholarships. So between 5 and 10K scholarships based on merit.
Mhm.
Okay, and I'm thinking. I mean, I'm pretty sure that God gonna bless me with. You
Mhm.
better bless
Mhm.
me with this. These scholarships is expensive, and so that's gonna help to pay for it. And then there's a few other scholarships that they've sent me that will help to pay for it too. So it won't be as expensive. It's like 30 over 30K, maybe 50K. I don't know, one of the
Mm-hmm.
two. I think in the long run, though, right? Probably even within the first year of getting a data science
Oh yeah.
job, I mean, it'll be paid for, particularly if you
Yeah.
could find a job in like the government sector. But like you said, make sure that you do your research. I've heard a lot about like the Coursera's and
Mm-hmm.
the
Like Udemy and stuff like that.
yeah,
Yeah.
those, yes, a lot about those. And they were probably really good, and they may still be really good, and there may be other benefits to it. But for
Mm-hmm.
me, I always look at the opportunity cost. I know at
Right.
SMU, I'm gonna be able to network. There are gonna be people
Mm-hmm.
here that have influence, that have the financial backing that I may
Yeah.
not get if I went somewhere else. Yes, I would love to go somewhere else, but if I'm able to, um, go into another space where there's not very many people that look like me, they want
Mm-hmm.
us there. That's the other thing too. They want us there. A lot of us think that they don't want us there. They want us there because there's not many of us. They're gonna do whatever it takes to make sure that we get in there and that we're successful. I mean, my advisor, she's reached out to me. I'm like 8, 9 times. I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it. Okay, we'll get it to you. Right? You get everything. So they want us there. So don't shy away from that. Go.
Mm-hmm.
Put yourself out there. They want you there. And the people that I've met in my data science course, a lot of them are military. A lot of them are military because it's expensive. I'm the only one that's not military. I'm like paying for this out of pocket. I'm like,
Oh wow.
with the ramen noodle. Here I go back in college again, right? Like, oh. But it's been worth it, and the experiences that I've gained, the people that I've met, the projects that I've worked on.
Mm-hmm.
One project we worked on, one of the girls, I wanted to do sharks because I'm a nerd. I want to do sharks, great white sharks. Let's do that, right? She wanted to do weed. I'm like, oh, girl, we don't need no. Don't give us no job. We talking about weed, okay? Okay, but guess what won over the sharks in the group? Weed. Huh. All right, so let's do it. We did it. We had a great time with it, and it
Mm-hmm.
was the only project that our professor picked to
Oh.
be like his capstone project that he shows to other people for what he expects a presentation to look like.
Wow.
Yes. So, I mean, like, it's like, wow, like, how can you, yeah, we wouldn't have got that if we had the sharks. He said nobody had ever done weed. And I made sure that we spent it in a way that, like, we spent the narrative in a way that
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't like, we're not doing this for recreational. We're gonna look at this. We're gonna analyze the data.
Yeah.
Okay, where in the world? Okay, how many states? And then so
Mm.
looking at that, like over 80% of the states in the United States has weed that's legalized for either recreational purposes or medicinal purposes.
Medicinal. Yeah.
It's going that way, right? So it was easy. It's an easy conversation to have when
Mm-hmm.
you're in like a job interview and you're wanting to present your portfolio and talk about the projects you've done. I mean, like, I'm not going to have any issues talking to them about why our group chose to study marijuana
Mm-hmm.
as a project and to present that.
Yeah.
So yeah, so but the data part of it is important. You can just go, "Oh, I'm
Yeah.
gonna smoke weed," and we eat our food, go TV and think about some random stuff, and right, yeah. Just the data part of it is what makes people listen,
Yeah.
right? I had a friend that said, "What do you say? People lie." Say women lie, men lie, numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie, right?
Yeah. Numbers don't lie. And I've heard that for so long, and I was like, "Dang, okay, this is so like you can read the data component of it.
Yeah.
That makes people listen." I can go around talking about how I know how to remediate dyslexia all day. I haven't had the data though. I
Yeah.
knew it worked, and I've had
Yeah.
the anecdotal records that it worked, but I have not had the data.
Right.
When you've got the data, you can be more effective in what you're doing. You can convince the people to back whatever it is, a project or you know, crowdfunding
Mm-hmm.
campaign that you want them to back, but it can't be built off of your emotions. It has to be built off of data,
Right.
and that's what I've learned from this class. When you've got the data and you've got those numbers to prove, that's when they'll
Mm-hmm.
back you. They need to know that this is going to be successful,
Yeah.
right? You can show that more so with data than you can with just, hey, I'm good. I can speak at this, yada yada yada.
Right. Yeah.
So
No, that'll be like me taking this channel to some sponsors or something like that and being like, look, we're talking about all this good stuff and da da da. And they're gonna be like, all right, that's cool, but what the views looking like? They're gonna
yeah,
want to know that there's an audience for this. You know what I'm saying? So that
exactly.
data, like you said, the numbers don't lie. So
Mm-hmm,
um
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
it's admirable, like just hearing how you're. I love meeting passionate people because I'm so passionate about my hobbies and like the stuff I do. So it's just
Yeah.
something different when you meet somebody and you're like, yeah, like you're like genuinely passionate about like learning this stuff and like
Mm-hmm,
using
mm-hmm,
it to like combine it. And I love stuff like that so much. And I never would have guessed this. Like, I look at your page and we talked. I don't even think I mentioned this. I know I mentioned this last time we recorded, but like we met through the Instagram comments and everything. Um,
mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
so like through that and then through our brief conversation and stuff like that, I would never have guessed as much as I've gotten from you, throughout this interview. So yeah, man, I love this type of stuff. So as
Yeah.
far as now though, it's like it seems like any opportunity you get, you're gonna take the chance to learn more. So outside of going and doing a boot camp or going back to school or something like that, what do you use to learn now? Like, are you on YouTube? Are you on some of those other course sites? Like, what do you do to learn now?
I don't have time to be anywhere else but on this boot camp. Okay, like they
Nah,
do
I
not
feel
play. When they say boot
that.
camp, they mean it. They're not
Yeah.
playing. When I first read it, they were like, "Oh, you're gonna spend at least 20 hours a week in
Hmm.
addition to like the 3 classes that you're gonna take at night." And I'm like, "Oh, whatever. I'm smart. I'm not gonna be doing
Hmm.
all of that." I'm like, "Oh my lord, I'm 40 hours a week and trying to
Yeah.
figure out JavaScript and like because the for data science, and this is what's also really um, I think it's really important to distinguish between
Hmm.
because the language, right, in tech, when it in terms of data, you've got like the data analyst,
Yeah.
right, and then you've got the data engineers, right, and you got the data science. And
Hmm.
what does all that even mean? Or the business analyst, and they're like, what is they all the same, ain't they?
Right.
Well,
Right.
they really are not. So, of course, data engineers are going to have a little bit more of that specialized knowledge where
Hmm.
they're going to be able to do a little bit more coding, more of like the cleaning up the data and making
Yeah.
sure that they can present the data to the data analyst or maybe even the data scientist to look at more and further explore and to look for trends and
Hmm.
patterns and to be able to present that right to
Yeah.
the stakeholders in some kind of a nice visual presentation. And so data analysts typically, or data science, or not data science, data analysts and business analysts typically are not going to be able to know how to do very much of coding, right?
Yeah.
It's just you're going to get that information from the data engineers. Okay,
Hmm.
now data science though, oh baby, we got you on both ends.
Hmm.
I can do the coding. Not
Yeah.
only can I do the coding, I can also do the analysis and I can do the visualizations and I can put it together and I'm going to present it to you in a way to make you agree with what I'm saying. I'm going to
Yeah.
make sure that my presentation is very compelling and
Yeah.
that you will have in no way to deny that what I'm saying is facts.
Hmm.
Because and you'll practice it, and you'll put it all nicely together. Your Seaborns, your Matplotlib, your Plotly, whatever,
Yeah.
to put it all together in a nice presentation and present. So that's very important in distinguishing between making yourself more marketable in this
Hmm.
industry, especially for tech, right? Because if I can walk in and I can say, yeah, I can do what the business and data analysts do, but I can also
Hmm.
do what the
Yes.
data
Yes.
engineers do.
Yeah.
Now, I ain't never do it to the level that the
Hmm.
engineers do, right? But I can do it.
Yeah.
I can code. I can do that in different systems. And so that's what we are learning as data scientists. We can do the data scientists can do all of that
Mm.
on both ends.
Yeah.
So, not that it's going to eliminate the need for either one of the two,
Mm.
but in the meantime, as a company is growing, does that make sense? You can at least have that one
Yeah.
person to fill that role
Yeah.
until they can get there to where they can, do a little bit more of a big data and, big data, like, cleaning and kind of a thing
Yeah.
and big data analysis kinds of things. So, yeah, that's very important to make sure that you're clear on the verbiage and understanding what they mean in the tech space
Mm.
before you decide on which programs
Yeah.
to use.
Wow. I love that so much. All right. So before we move on, I just want to clarify. So your bachelor's is in English. Your first
Yeah.
master's is in. I know it's related to dyslexia, but what's the official name of it?
So it's a master's in linguistics, but it's master's in reading and writing and learning therapy.
Okay.
But it's basically linguistics,
Mm-hmm.
which is really going to be helpful because we've got the AI systems with the large language models, right?
Yeah.
So, um, like doing that chat GPT engineering thing. Oh my
Mm.
God, I'm good. I'm so good at that. My boss gave me a task to do, and I did it. Like I did. I was like, oh yeah, I see. Oh, right. I knew exactly what prompts
Like how
to
to,
put in
yeah,
to ensure that it gave me what I needed. And when it
yeah,
didn't give me what I wanted, I knew what prompts to alter so
yeah.
they can give me what I was actually asking for. And so that's where my linguistic skills
Mm.
comes in from my degree, my master's degree, which I'm so thankful for. There's a
Mm.
lot more to learn, of course. It's not just
Yeah.
that. But I think that is, like 25% of it, which is a huge component of it. And it did help me to solve a business problem that we were facing, and we needed a quick answer to.
Mm.
And I was able to do it. And we worked as a team. And I was like, you need to do this, you need to. But, I'm a black
Mm.
person. They're not going to listen to you right away. So, okay. Mm-hmm. Oh, won't be, right? When it came, y'all gonna keep doing that. Keep it up. Right. And so, yeah, so they gave the task to me. And the next day, I did this and I went through the whole like this is what I did. Step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Every time it
Mm.
said this, what I told it to do. When it said this, I told it to do this. And then boom, 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 and it spit this out. Boom, done. Got it. So now we have a model to follow to do the same exact thing with the next task that
Yeah.
we needed to do. You just have to change a few little words here and there instead of having to re-engineer the prompts like completely.
Mm-hmm.
And so, yeah, so I'm really grateful for that side of it. And I think that part of tech really, it excites me a lot, the
Mm.
language piece.
That's cool. And so your second master's is going to be the data science, right?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
All
Yeah.
right.
And
So
I'm hoping to do the concentration is going to be in AI and machine learning.
okay, that's
We'll
cool.
see.
Oh, we're gonna have to
Everything
do
else.
it like after you finish this and everything. We got to do another, maybe not like interview, but I'm gonna have to definitely hear more about this from you for sure. Um,
Yeah. Yeah. Sure. I would love to. I would love to. We need more of us in there because
yeah.
there's not many. There's not many at all. Like, there's
All right,
not.
so no, that's a good little segue though. So you kind of briefly just touched on it. You talked about how growing up you were often like y'all basically integrated to school. So
Mhm.
what has your
Yeah.
experience? Let me make sure that's the right question. Yeah, what has your experience been like as a black woman? You've been in Louisiana, Texas, Florida. Like you said, you
Mhm.
you, you kind of basically integrated to school. You're at this position now where you probably one of the few black people there. So like, what has your experience been like? Oh,
Yeah.
and in college too. That part too.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So I'm gonna be honest. It has been a lot of proving myself. It has not
Mm,
stopped.
mm,
Okay, it has not stopped. I was watching one of your episodes with a lady that's been in tech. I think she was older, maybe in her 50s. I can't remember
Heather,
her name, but I
Heather,
watched
yeah.
the full episode. Was Heather?
Mm-hmm.
That's right. Yeah, I remember her talking about her name and
Yeah.
being able to use that, as
Yeah.
leverage to get interviews and things like that. And
Mm.
yes, it was Heather. And so when she talked about being a beautiful and smart Black woman
Mm.
and how difficult that makes it for you,
Damn.
to be taken seriously.
Taken seriously. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. Yes. It is. That's so difficult. And I resonated so much with that. And I think that really is what drew me more so to your channel is
Mm.
her interview.
Wow. That's
Um,
good.
yes, for sure. And the need for more. I've been looking for a mentor for like a while. I can't find
Yeah.
anyone that is any Black woman that is older than me, that has more experience than me, that can guide me in the right direction.
Mm.
Um, there are people that are threatened by you, that are your own color. Okay. And this is fact. Um, I have experienced it for a while,
Mm.
right? And so those things, that it's very difficult, especially when and I always tell people, oh, you get that you're so handsome. Like if you're a guy, oh, you're so handsome, or you hear that a lot, don't you? Right?
Yeah.
But when you look in the mirror, so you see the same old person. Like you don't
Right.
see what I look at me every day. What are y'all seeing? Right? Like, what are you seeing? I don't. I'm trying to figure it out. And so just things that you don't realize that people perceive as a
Right.
threat
Right.
to their who they are and to their livelihood,
Mm.
right? They will get defensive no matter what color they are. And
Yeah.
so at the end of the day, who knows what they think they're protecting. Maybe they think they're protecting their livelihood for their family, for their future, for them. And so it can be very cutthroat.
Mm.
um, and so like organizations like that don't operate with integrity, and that especially human resources departments, if you're not operating with integrity, if you are willing to lie to save someone's job who has blatantly lied, bye, this
Mm.
is not the company for me.
Yeah.
I'm not working here because that it doesn't align with my values. And so you have to be very diligent
Mm.
about the roles that you accept. And that is so hard because they're already very scarce for us as colored people,
Yeah.
right? And so, especially in the tech field, because I feel like the last, I don't know, decade or two, we've really been like infiltrating
Yeah.
this field. And it may seem a little bit uncomfortable to others because we are really smart people, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Um, and so when we get in there and we get to talking and they see
Mm.
more than just your handsome face, right?
Right.
And your swagger,
Right.
right? And your nice dress or whatever. And they see, oh my goodness, so and so knows what so and so talking about. You
Mm-hmm.
will become a target. You will become a target,
Mm.
especially if they don't have the experience to back up their position,
Yeah.
right? And so that's where I am. That's where, that's where my struggle is right now. So for me, like looking for more mentors. I mean, they could be any color. I would prefer women of color because we
Yeah.
have gone through the same thing. Right?
Yeah.
Like I would never know what it's like to be someone that's in a wheelchair. All day, and they have to. That's their main form of transportation, getting around from place to place. It's
Right.
trying to figure out how to accommodate or get around in the world and accommodate themselves through that. I would never know that. So I don't want to make it seem like it's a race thing, because it's not a race thing, but it is a different
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah.
And so
Definitely.
yeah, and it's a valid point. We need more Black women in the tech space that are willing to like reach out and mentor people that are new. Even if we could be the same age, who cares? You may have 30 more, 20 more years experience, I don't know, more than me, and we could be the same age.
Yeah.
I'm coming from a different industry, but there's so much I can learn, and that's been so hard. It's been so hard to find. I don't know anybody at this point.
Yeah.
And so that part of the journey has been really lonely. That's
Mm.
it's a really lonely. It's
That
lonely.
that isolated feeling.
So yeah,
Yeah.
feeling isolated, feeling
Yeah.
isolated. But at the end of the day, like you're paving. Think about like you're paving a way for the people that are going to come after you.
Yeah.
Um,
I think that's a
you
good
know,
way of looking at it.
like the civil rights movement, right? Like
Yeah.
and even beyond that, like
Yeah.
paving the way for others. And so yeah, that's what I have to keep in mind. And it's hard. It's hard. Like um,
So so something of so for me, right? I felt that isolation and everything throughout my career, being on the only or one of the few black people. This doing these interviews has given me a lot of like a sense of community, that fulfillment that I was missing. So being, you had your sister in school, so I would imagine that y'all could lean on each other a lot. Through college, I would hope that you might have had some, peers that you could have connected with. But professionally, how do you find that community? Like, how do you find your tribe? Where are you getting that fulfillment from right now?
yeah, that's a good question.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still like working to find my way in
Mm-hmm.
tech. And so like even on my Instagram page, I've got a lot of ideas. I have not even posted up yet. Because it's very niche, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm, you know, I believe in God. I believe in Jesus. And I'm not at all perfect. There was definitely a straying away for a long time. And, heathen. Okay, like that was my name. Okay, Heathen Hawkins. That's what you call me, straight up heathen. But at some moment in life, if you've been called, you get humbled, and I was humbled. I mean, all the way down to the ground,
Mm-hmm.
um, to where I didn't have nobody else to lean on but him. And so my Instagram page that I'm starting related to data tech, I'm wanting to connect it to like to God, to the
Mm-hmm.
Creator. All of this, like if you believe in a higher power, all of this
Mm-hmm.
is coming from someone that is way, way more knowledgeable than what we would ever be. Like do you know how to build an ocean? Can you build the Pacific? Can you do that? Right? Like, no, I
Yeah.
could like how? No, never, never.
Mm-hmm.
Right? But I can build a computer, right? And I know that I built it. Maybe all of the insides of the computer don't know that I built it, but it working, and I built
Right.
it, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I'm like the like not the God, but the person that built the computer.
Yeah.
So if thinking of it that way, it's really hard to deny the existence for me of a higher power,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it's kind of like I don't live inside of a computer, right? But I can code and I can tell it what I need it to do, and it does what I tell it to do. And
Yeah.
so outside of that, there's something I feel that's similar
Mm-hmm.
to what I'm doing, but just on a grander scale. And so to me, I feel like there is a larger connection between data and and God. And I'm working to put the two together.
Mm-hmm.
And so I have ideas and things, and it's not that easy. And I try to like quote a little bit of scripture to go along with it to make it make sense.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, and so yeah, so that's one way that
Mm-hmm.
I try to stay a little bit more knowledgeable about what I'm doing and to stay more relevant, um, and to make it more interesting for me to keep
Yeah.
going with it.
Yeah.
Um, the dyslexia thing, that's easy. I got that. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already doing it, and I'm
Right.
an expert at it. But pushing yourself, like, how can I make this relate in other areas? Right. That's the hardest part.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's nothing in like what could be harder than this,
Right.
right? Than whoever I think has built these oceans or who has made these countries or made these planets or these galaxies that I
Mm-hmm.
cannot make. right? It doesn't live inside of a galaxy. It doesn't live inside of Earth. And it definitely ain't living in no computer. It is living all outside of everything in existence, right?
Mm.
And and so one of my posts of it, big data comes from God. We can't think that it's like, where else would it come from? We're not that powerful on our own,
Mm.
right?
I like
So
I've never seen that connection made like that, but kind of comparing that um that system type of view to the outer view of, you know, a higher power or something like that. Like I've never heard somebody make that connection. I'm definitely curious to see how you grow that and how you you know
yeah,
how you, the plans with that and everything. I'm definitely interested in seeing that. So when it comes to being around other people, like, you know, like-minded people and everything, are you looking to find that online, or are you is it that's
yeah,
mostly where it's at? Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I'm in a few Facebook groups,
Mm.
Black Women in Tech. I
Mm.
really like that group, so I'm in that group. Um, I think it's just called Black in Tech on
Mm.
Facebook. I'm there. Also, I like that group. Any on Instagram, just the algorithm found you
Mm.
for me, and I was like, oh, let me see. Oh, great, yes, so it finds people that I'm interested in, or that I can learn from, and I just start adding them.
Mm.
Um, there's the threads thing, and
Yeah.
you can put in threads like, hey, but don't show me nobody except people that know this, the tech. They know they
Yeah.
like God, they like this, they like this. Don't, like whatever, you put all that in there, and then we'll find those people for you. And so that helps me with the connection. My
Mm.
data science class too, for sure, helps me with the connection. Um, I've got my professor, my TA. One of my TAs is in Washington, I believe.
Mm.
Um, and she works for the government. And so like I get to it's not just I actually get to talk with them. I can send them emails, we can Zoom, and they
Mm.
can help walk me through things. Another good thing about that boot camp too is that they provide like live tutors. Like right now, 11
Oh.
o'clock, if I'm working
Mm.
on like a project and I'm like, okay, I don't know what this is asking me to do it out. I've been trying for 40 minutes. I don't know what this code is doing. Like, like, what is PostgreSQL? Why is it not loading my
Right.
CSV? It's
Yeah.
wow, help. The ERD diagram, I'm tired of y'all. And so that's a good thing about the program. It's expensive, but I've got access to these people 24 hours as a live person that will show up,
Mm.
and they'll say, what's your problem? You tell them what your problem is, pop up on Zoom, and then you talk through it. And
Mm.
so I know a lot of the people, I'm up late. I don't need that much sleep, and I 6 hours is good for me, and I'm up, I'm ready
Yeah.
to go.
Me too. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't need them when I'm younger. Oh shoot, 12, 13, bother me. I would sleep a lot, but yeah, I don't need that much. And so my additional time is typically spent in Zoom sessions with these people. They're all around the world too.
Mm-hmm.
You just never know who you're going to meet that can change your life. You
Yeah.
never know.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, my tutors are in I have tutors in Africa, Nigeria, India, and
Mm.
China. Like they are all over from this boot camp, and then getting a chance to speak with them when we have guest professors come in. When our professor is unavailable, they will connect with us on social media, and so then we get an additional like contact, someone else that you can say, hey, remember you sub my class, and
Mm-hmm.
just wanted to reach out to you and ask you a question about this, or can you help me with this, or
Yeah.
get out there, show them that you are hungry about the knowledge. It's not, it is about the job. You want a job, right? And they know that. Like,
Yeah.
come on, we're not
Obviously, yeah.
job
Right.
too. But before that, while I'm learning, I do want to know what this is,
Mm.
and so don't be afraid to reach out to those people and say, hey, ooh, I don't even know what this query, how I write this
Yeah.
query, and and this,
Yeah.
and and let them help you. Um, I think, one of my friends said, because it was really hard for me to accept help from other people for
Mm,
a long time. I'm independent. I can do this on my
mm,
own. Yada yada.
yeah.
And she says to me, "Don't stop denying other people the opportunity to bless you."
Oh wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, imagine if you came to me and said, "Hey, I got this. I want to give you," but then you say to me, "I don't need that. I got it. I'm independent."
Mm,
Right? Like, now, how would you feel? Oh, and I didn't think about it that way. Like, dang, I didn't.
right.
You think like, oh, you want to show them that you're strong and you're capable and you can do it without the help.
Mm-hmm.
But like, denying them the opportunity to bless you.
Yeah.
How remember how that makes them feel to say, yes, I've got something in me to give to others. I can give
Mm,
back. People want to give back.
yeah.
And if they don't reach out to give you that opportunity, talk to them,
Mm,
and let them know, yeah, I'm open to that opportunity. And, like, 9 times out of 10, they'll give it to you.
yeah. Yeah, I like that. I feel like it's super important. I talked about this with a few people, but like finding like-minded people, finding your community. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like it's so important, and for you to be able to do that online and find people all around and stuff like that, I love that because I'm doing something similar with this. You have your friends and stuff and your real life friends, but there's only some people that's going to understand your job experience as well as like the race aspect and like this combination of things. It's like a few people that would genuinely understand it. And so what I'm realizing is like
Hmm.
doing these for me has been my way of like you talking. I'm like, yeah, I relate to that, like stuff like that. So it's cool to hear how how you've been able to find your community and everything. So
Hmm. Hmm.
I want to get into. Oh, did you have something else?
Yeah, I was going to ask you, how do you pronounce your name on here? Computer, I think, with a
Com-
Q.
yeah, computer keys.
Keys?
Yeah,
Computer
yeah,
keys. Yeah. Okay. Okay. From your name, Marquise.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Yeah. That's creative. Okay. Yeah.
Thank
Yeah.
you. I thought that was so
Let me
clever
see.
when I
Okay.
came up with
Keep it.
it.
Okay. I see it. Yeah. That is. It's very creative. Okay.
Thank you. All right, so yeah, we kind of got into this a little bit, but I want to get into like what adversity or obstacles you had to. We only got a few more questions. I know we've been going for a
Yeah.
while.
It's
Are
fine.
you good? You good on time?
Yeah.
All right,
Good.
good. All right. So, what adversity or obstacles have you had to overcome? Because we got into a few of them. The
Mm-hmm.
math thing. Moving when you didn't necessarily want to move and stuff like that. So, like, what would you say are some of your bigger obstacles that you had to overcome?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Um, I would say other people, but
Oh,
mm-mm, it's not. It's me. My biggest
wow,
obstacle was me, right? And the limitations I placed upon my own self.
dang.
And so sometimes that comes from other people, and it comes from the chatter that other people may be making about you that may not necessarily be true.
Yeah.
That can hinder your goals. That can hinder what you think about yourself. And so this is why, like, surrounding yourself with the right people is so important.
Mm,
Um, I mean, it's so important.
yeah.
Um, and for me, I just, I'm like, I like everybody. Like, it doesn't matter. I will talk to anybody. It doesn't matter what they look like. Like, I'm not superficial like
Hmm.
that. I enjoy learning from others,
Yeah.
right? And so sometimes you can get in positions to where you have certain friends or certain people in your life that you've had around for a long time, and you feel like, because of the years of experience that you've had with them and the times that you've spent with them and the things that you've gone through with them, that you have to stick with them,
Yeah.
but they're not growing. I think that has been one of my biggest setbacks.
Mm,
Right? At least a decade of time that I've wasted with
mm.
people that were not um, following the same path that I wanted to follow.
Wow.
And you read it all the time, like, oh, the 5 people that's closest to you gonna be like them,
Yeah.
oh, whatever. No, I make my own. I make it my own. Like, that's what I'm thinking. Whatever. That's not true. I make it my own. No. Over time, you're like, dang, yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I mean, it is actually true, right? Because it's not just about spending time with them. What kind of conversations are y'all having? What are y'all
Right.
talking about?
Right.
Okay, where are you going with them? Okay, are they advancing in their career? Are they helping you to advance in their career? Or who are they connecting with?
Mm-hmm.
um, and those things were just not happening. Like, it was a pretty girl party, get it, hey, here, right? And
Right.
but after a while, for me, it's not satisfying no more.
Yeah.
I'm done. This is just, I'm over it. But for some people, that's what they want to do, and that's fine. But at the end of the day, it was me. I was struggling with letting it go,
Mm.
right? Because you think, oh, but we did this and we got through this together, and she was here for me when this, and they say, yeah, you think you owe them, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't. You owe yourself,
Yeah.
right? You owe yourself. So, being selfish in that aspect is very important. I wish someone would have pulled me to the side and would have said that. Like,
Mm.
you're wasting your life. You're wasting a lot of time that you could be using to serve others and to grow yourself and to meet your goals. Um, and so, yeah,
Mm.
I think, yeah, so it was me being unable to disconnect from that loyalty aspect, that I don't snitch on nobody, that kind of a thing, right? It's really a very similar mentality. um
Yeah.
it's a different way to say it, but it's a similar mentality. I'm not about to snitch. I ain't snitching, right?
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, breaking free, you have to break free. And I've lost a lot of friends on this 2-year journey. Just 2 years, right? Like, that
Yeah.
I have
Yeah.
been friends with for, over, like, several decades, that I've lost, because I finally said, no, I'm doing this. This started taking up a lot of my time, and I just don't have the time to reach out and talk to you about
Wow.
what's going on reality TV,
Yeah.
right? Um, and I wish I
Damn.
would have had enough intelligence to do that sooner than later.
Sheesh. You
So,
are somehow you're. This is my. I've only dropped 8 episodes, but this is like the 15th or 16th one of these, and you're the first person to bring this up. So
congratulations. That's
thank
good. Yeah,
you.
congratulations. Awesome.
Thank you. But yeah, like, I can think of a few people right now offhand that like would benefit from that that knowledge or that that experience or whatever. Um, the people you are around definitely can influence you in certain ways, and then once y'all start growing in different directions, it can become hard. They don't understand why you don't want to go out, why you don't want to sit and talk about whatever the
Mhm.
latest celebrity gossip is, and you
Yeah.
don't understand why they don't want to apply themselves and gain another degree or something like that. And
Yeah.
when stuff like that happens, it's like I think you can outgrow people, and you're the first
Yep.
person to kind of bring this up, which is crazy, but it's very valid. And I can think about it in my life, and some
Mhm.
people that I know that would benefit from hearing this right now, who might not be around the best people.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and I like
Yeah.
how you held accountability for it too. Like, you didn't say, "Oh, the people I was with was this way, this way, this way." You're like, I allowed myself to be put in these settings, and then I had
Mhm.
to
I wanted
remove
to say it
myself
was
from
them.
that stuff.
At first, I was about to say them.
Yeah.
Them hoes held me back. No. Oh,
But no, that's what I'm
no.
saying. Like, it's good to be able to hold yourself accountable and be like, yeah, like I was allowing myself to be in these environments and stuff like
Mhm.
that. So there's a lot of
Mhm.
power in that
Mhm.
too. Being able to admit that. I like that. Damn.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Takes a
you
lot of
had spit in the
self-awareness
J.
too. Like, you literally have to sit down. Like, the getting real with yourself.
Yeah.
and we're not really taught like what does that like. I said, get real with yourself, but people don't really know what that mean. What does that mean? I
No.
mean, I'm
Yeah.
real. Like I'm thugging
Yeah.
all day. Like money, pay the bills, and but get real with yourself.
No.
Okay,
For real. Yeah.
what does that look like? Not just in like 5, 10, however many 50 years. What does that look like right now? You
Mm.
being real with yourself,
Yeah.
okay, and becoming a different person. You know, because it's going to be your daily habits that's going
Yep.
to lead to those 1 year, 2 year, and
Hmm.
10 year and 30 year changes. Your daily habits. Get real with yourself. What is it that you need to do right now to make that
Yeah.
change? Right, to be the person that you think you might could be.
Mm.
Right. So no, you can't drink every day. Like you
Yeah.
can't. No, I can't come. No, we're not. Like, I'm not
Right.
smoking. Like I gotta get up and go to work. Like no, even breakfast in the morning. Like no,
Yeah.
and all of my friends were, they're basketball wives. Like they
Mm.
don't do nothing,
Yeah.
right? Like I don't have that privilege.
Yeah.
It's just not in my nature. I like to work. I get that
Mm.
from my mom, my dad. As much as that sounds like a good life, it's not. To
Mm.
me, it's not like it's not healthy for me. I would be in the bed all day and I'm probably gaining a lot of weight and be doing nothing for nobody. So
Right.
you really have to get rid of yourself. You really have to find out. They say find who you are and what does that mean? What does it mean? It's going to be a process of trial and error. Try
Yep.
everything. Try it every day. Work out. Do you like doing that? Okay,
Mm.
how often do you like doing it? I don't really like doing it. I heard people say it's good, but I can do something else. Maybe I walk or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, what else? What can you fill your mind with? My thoughts have changed so much because I read the Bible a lot,
Mm.
whereas 3 years ago, uh,
Mm.
I mean, I might read a scripture. Like I read it. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yeah, right? Like a few of the scriptures that Jesus wept. I know that one,
Mm.
right? Like that's it. But I make sure that I fill my mind with a lot of scripture, a lot of like Christian music, a lot of Christian rap. I was before. I mean, I am a hardcore rap fan. Like it is
Mm.
so hard for me to put on some 21 Savage, some of the where the Boosie at though. Can I get some Kevin Gates real quick?
Hey yo.
I'm from Louisiana. I want to hear all y'all. Okay, he's like,
Yeah.
woo, that's the P at least. At the very least. Like, let me put on something like, okay, Cash Money
Mm.
taking over for the 99 and the 2000. We all know what's gonna happen after that. Like, come on, but it's like, okay,
Yo, you got my
let me really
cheeks
think
hurt.
about how that's gonna affect me if I'm doing this
Oh,
all day long. Like,
yeah.
how is it going to affect
Oh,
me
my
as a
cheeks.
person, what I'm thinking about and my thoughts? So it's a training. You really have to retrain your
Mm.
brain. The retraining of the brain. That's something that I learned from teaching my students with dyslexia. Is
Mm.
that it's a retraining of the brain when they're using the wrong part of their brain to access language.
All right.
And so you can go in maybe with like some a doctor could, at least not me, with
Mm.
scalpel and all the tools, and they can like rewire their brain with that, but it's unnecessary. I can do it without the tools, the
Mm.
retraining of the brain. And so if you can do that with someone else, I can do that with me. And
Yeah.
so just applying that to my own life,
Mm.
where I wasn't for a long time, I wasn't applying it. That part of it has made the biggest difference,
Yeah.
right? Like
Yeah.
it's yeah, like a
Sorry, bro.
constant self assessment
Mm.
every day,
Yeah,
which is
I
hard.
relate to that a lot. More so with like the gym and stuff. Now, I think going to the gym and holding myself accountable with that has spilled over into other aspects of my life. So I get like like you said, it's them habits. All those little habits add up. Like what time? When? How late are you up? And are you just mindlessly scrolling every day? And like, what are you doing with your
Mm-hmm.
free time? And where you like really applying yourself? All of those little things add up, and then you don't really realize until you look back, and it's like, dang, I'm doing the same thing I was doing last year. I'm in the
Yeah.
same
Yes.
spot I was last year. Like,
That's it. That's
yeah,
it.
it
That's
really
it
hit
right
you.
there. That is it. If you are doing the same thing that you
Hmm.
were doing last year,
Yeah,
right? And there has been no change.
right.
That right there is that's your wake up call.
Yeah, I
That should
agree.
not be happening.
I
It should
agree.
not unless you're retired, right? Then you're cool. Chill and
Right.
sit, right? Sit and chill and sit, whatever, right?
Right.
But yeah, that's your wake up call. And I got around some former friends of mine
Hmm.
from elementary, middle school, and high school. And I told you I grew up in a white neighborhood. Like my friends, like their parents were president of like Compaq. Like at that time, it was like a
Um,
big computer
yeah, I
company,
remember
or
Compact.
like the top children's medical center, like St. Jude, president. Like these are the people I were around. I was around these people. Like I
Mm.
went to their $1 million houses, like
Mm.
after school all the time. Same neighborhood in Deion Sanders lived in. I just lived in the apartments behind, right? We're just behind the bar. We're like, hey, what's going on over there? Ooh, let's go trick or treat. They'll give us $10. Like, um, but the mindset of those people, they were very different, and I recognized it, but I didn't know how to apply it, and
Mm.
it wasn't until very recently, like within the last 5 years, that I'd reconnected with some old friends from high school, and I saw how much further ahead in life they were than I was.
Mm. Dang. So
Um,
it's like a wake up call for you.
I was wake up call, and then ooh, Marquise, ooh,
Mm.
3 months later, it was even further ahead. Like, they weren't saying nothing about it. They just be
Yeah,
doing,
just
And all
going
of a sudden,
right.
like, girl, started a business, or oh my God, me and Becky are doing this, and like, what? Girl, we going to Italy? You won't go? You have to go with us. We're
Yeah.
celebrating. I can't go. I can't go to Italy because I'm not even prepared. I've not had enough daily habits to think about
Mm.
how to get to Italy. So
Yeah.
y'all go have like, but they were making so much progress so quickly, but they were so excited, and but they looked at me as though I had what it took. They
Mm.
didn't question, like when they would ask me like, "Oh, we're gonna go to," they really meant it. We going to Italy, girl,
Mm.
you going?
Mm.
Like they really thought I had whatever it was they thought I had to go there, and
Yeah.
I didn't have it. I didn't have it, and I'm like, what is going on? I
Mm.
don't. Okay, I got to figure this out. I need to figure this out. And so I
Yeah.
started watching them. I started taking notes of what they were doing. I started listening to the things that they would say. Their
Mm.
phone calls. If they would take a phone call when I'm around, I'm like, what? Let me hear what they
Mm.
talking about. Let me hear how they talking, who they talking to, and what they are saying. The places they would go in the town. Where are they
Mm.
going? Right?
Yeah.
They're not going to the hookah house. I know
Mm.
that, right? They're not going to those places. They're going to the Ritz Carlton every second Tuesday during the business networking time and exchanging
Mm.
cards with CEOs of certain companies.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like these are the things that they were doing, um, and I'm like, okay, this is what I'm gonna have to do that I have
Mm.
not been doing. Okay, no more hookah, no more, right? Like, no, you can't do that. I'm not saying you can't do that, but if you want to make a change in your life, just like you said, I mean, 3 months from now, 6 months from now, a year from, definitely a year from now,
Yeah.
you have not made any changes or made any progress,
Right.
then you need to reassess, get a mentor, talk to somebody, and
Yeah.
find some new friends and make it
Mm.
happen.
Yeah. No, I agree. I'm glad you brought that up. And towards the end, we're gonna get into some tips. But you already spilled like a few gems throughout this, John, where you're like some solid information that I feel like people would definitely benefit from. So, yeah,
Yeah, I hope
you've
so.
been spitting. All right. So, like the last official question here is, but before I ask this question, I like to kind of summarize. So, you you went from teaching English to getting into tech and basically combining those things. You're in school
Yeah.
now to get your data science master's, your master's in data science. Um, and you have your foundation, you have your land
Yeah.
back in dollars. So like, where
Hmm.
do you see yourself going 5, 10 years, 20 years from now? And then the second part of this question is, what does retirement look like for you? But we could hold off on that. So what does
Yeah.
your life look like 5, 10, and 20 years from now? 20
Yeah,
plus years,
definitely.
let's say.
Yeah, I do. I plan to build a nice, a big house on on the lake because I mean it's in my blood. It's almost like it's kind of hard. I think I told you at our first meeting that in Louisiana, it's nothing to have land, right? Like
Yeah.
my grandmother had a trailer on 3 acres of land,
Mm.
right? um so that was nothing. So seeing coming from that, like my family having homes, trailer, whatever kind of a place they were able to live in, it was on a lot
On
of land.
land. Yeah.
It
Right.
was on land, and it was not on no little old plot, and everybody can
Mm.
hear what you're doing, and you can have no bounce house every weekend, and nobody can come over, and you can't, like it was a party every weekend, right?
Yeah.
Like this is after work, you come here, and we enjoy each other, and we bond as family, and we talk, and whatever. And so I grew up around that. Even when we moved to Dallas, my dad kept that tradition. It was very hard for him to let it go.
Mm.
Um, and so, and it was fun. I mean, every weekend we knew it was going to be a crawfish boil, some kind of a sausage, a seafood boil. We gonna have something. There's gonna be some drink, music. The kids would come, a bounce house, whatever. We
Yeah.
gonna be doing it, right? It's gonna be fun, and anyone is invited. Like if we know you, and we know you're good people, come. Like just come and enjoy. And
Mm.
so that's always been one of my is to have a house on some land, and I got really lucky, really really lucky. I don't
Mm.
know how this. I mean, I can't even tell you. It was God. Like there's no. I mean, if I tell you the story, I'm not gonna tell you it, but there is no other reason how I found number one and purchased this land,
Mm.
cash. I own it outright. I don't.
Dang.
There's no one that could have done that but God, and I'm so grateful for it. And so I do plan to build something there. And so with the foundation, so my aunt, um, this is one of the good things coming from a big family. You got a few
Mm.
people that are
Mm.
smart, Some of them, oh, dang, right? But I mean, we have a lot. We have a lot of more smart people though that make
Yeah.
great decisions, and she's one of them. Really good at grant writing. She writes grants. She helps people to start foundations, and she can guide you through the entire process to make
Mm.
sure that it happens and that it happens legally, and that all of your paperwork is in order.
Yeah.
And so I have been trying to start this foundation for, oh gosh, I'm so embarrassed to say how long.
Mhm.
Oh my Lord Jesus.
It's your truth though. It's part of the story.
Oh yeah, gosh, okay. It's like 7 or 8 years.
That's not
Um,
bad.
It's a long time, but it's a long time when you have someone that knows exactly what you need to do it.
Mm. Yeah, that's true. I can see that. Okay.
And but again, I wasn't around the right people, and I didn't have enough cognitive stamina to be able to do the
Mm.
work when I'm doing these.
Wow.
I'm focused in doing other things. It was just like okay,
Yeah.
right? So it took away the mental energy that I could have to focus on
Mm.
that part of it,
Yeah.
with me choosing to do other things. But
Yeah.
praise God that she is still here. She's amazing. She holds family bingo night
Mm.
online for all the family around the world. Like we all live in different areas now. It's so
Yeah.
big, and she give away real live cash money. Right,
I
so
need
it's
I need the invite. I'm trying.
it's a family bingo night.
Send me the
And so
invite.
yes, of course, of course. So yeah, so she's just she's older in age, and but she's still young, and she still
Mm.
has like a lot of life left in her, and she's always been a giver.
Mm.
And so I reached out to her, and I said, hey, I've been wanting to start the foundation. I reached out to her like 8 years ago and told her I was going to start it, and didn't never move with it. And so now she says I'm really serious. Like I'm on it. Like, hey, look, this, what do you think about this? Like we are really talking through it. and she has given me the such a huge blessing that she's not even charging me. It's basically
Mm.
saying she's teaching me step by step what to do. I have to take notes though, because she ain't gonna teach me again. I got
Yeah.
one time to go, and I got this time to ask questions. So
Right.
after she teaches me this one time, then she'll be around for a few other sessions. I can ask some questions. But other than that, she's teaching me how to replicate what I'm doing.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so while I have her, that's what I'm doing. And so I really want to use the my foundation to basically get grant money so
Mm.
that we can provide scholarships for people in the low income areas who can't afford a dyslexia therapist, to be
Mm.
able to teach them how to read. Dyslexia runs in families too. So,
Oh
if
wow.
your mom or your dad has it, so that's why it's cyclical, right?
Yeah.
So I say, oh, if your mom or dad, they went to prison, or yeah, you're going to go too. Yeah. Yeah. Because, well, there's a correlation there,
Yeah.
right? Not because all y'all bad,
Right.
you know, right? So that ain't why. It's,
Yeah.
and I always say to people, who shows up to kindergarten wanting to not learn in
Right.
first and second grade and third grade? Like, come on, yeah, let's think about this now. Okay, a 7 year old,
Mhm.
right? These are not things that want to happen. So that's one thing too that you can look at too, like do. And so that's one thing I want to get the word out there. I want people to understand more about this, because you'll get. I get shot down a lot, especially when I talk to people that don't look like us about it.
Mm.
They don't believe it. They think, oh, conspiracy theory. But how can you explain 80% of our people in jail?
Right.
And 75% of them have a learning disability, reading disability. But you don't think that, okay,
There's
I
something
see.
there,
Well,
like
so where's
yeah.
it going with our tax dollars? Where is our tax dollars going when it should be going
Yeah.
to educate these students, right?
Yeah.
And it's not going there. So that's one of the things I would like to do. And I'm wanting my house to be big enough because I want to have galas there. I have people
Mm.
coming over. I want to raise money and raise funds. I want to talk about it to whoever's going to listen.
Mm.
Um, and just it spread it all around the world until it's no longer a barrier, and it's no longer creating a standard of academic poverty, like a cyclical academic
Right.
poverty for generations and generations and generations of
Right.
people. So
Wow.
that's my ultimate goal, and I don't think I'm going to ever retire from that.
Mm.
Um, I do think about not working, but
Yeah.
it's just not. It's not. I just don't. I don't see me ever not working in
Yeah.
some capacity to advocate and to spread more awareness about dyslexia and about reading disabilities, and about how we can help people to overcome those challenges so that they don't end up in a lifetime of poverty again. We're not just advocating for them to be able to read. We're advocating for their quality of life,
Right. Wow.
right? And
Yeah.
that's what's important. It's not just you can't read. 10, when you're 10, 20, and 30, and 40, and 50, and 60, and 78, your quality of life
Yeah.
declines, right? And so that's what we're advocating for at the end of the day.
Mm.
Um, so that's what I'm hoping will happen. So we'll see. But yeah, no,
Nah.
retirement. That's probably. I feel like I'll be like 80 or 90 and still have students that I'll be, do dyslexia therapy services in my house.
Mm.
I would love that. Um, yeah. So,
Yes. You
what about you?
me well I mean for me like retirement I don't really see, which is something I was going to say, like um most people I've talked to, you still see themselves doing something with what they're doing. It's like that passion plus that inquisitive spirit means that even if you're not doing like a day to day type of thing, like it's something that you're going to do with it. And I relate to that too.
Yeah.
Um, Long term, I see myself hopefully being able to give back to my community and
Hmm.
through these types of means and everything. Hopefully, getting a lot more kids involved in tech and
Yeah.
creating like one of my big long term goals is to create like a rec center or something like that where I can teach not only kids but adults coding, data
Hmm.
science, and
Yes.
all these things under this umbrella. You know what I'm saying? So that's like one of my big long term goals, and I guess like 5 years would be, just continuing to do good work at my job and like moving up and stuff like that. So, but for
Yeah.
you, it sounds like you kind of you didn't necessarily break it down in 5, 10, 20 years, but you kind of started with what the plan is and then like where you see it going. I like how you did that. So we could start wrapping up now. I know you're gonna have some
Yeah.
good tips for people. So I've been combining these last two things. It's like what
Mhm.
tips do you have for somebody, and then like any final words, anything you want to plug. The foundation. I'll throw like if you got a website, anything, I'll throw it up for for the people to see and everything. But I want to start off with
Mm.
any tips you have for people. I know you're gonna have something good.
Yeah. Oh goodness. I don't know. Okay. Definitely for me, I think definitely the mentor
Mm,
component of it. And so that part is really hard because you just don't know who is going to be willing to
mm,
help you, right? And
yeah,
so at some point, you just have to get the courage to ask, like, and then be willing to accept a no as a yes
yeah,
for you to move on to the next thing, right?
right, right.
Instead of taking it as a failure, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think mentors are important. Doing whatever you can to to stay relevant in the field because it
Mm,
changes so much.
yeah, yeah.
And like I don't think a lot of us realized how fast tech would take over,
Oh, for
right?
sure. Yeah.
Like it has literally taken over, and it's not going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Um, we have so much access to people. We can reach everybody from almost everywhere. Like I can provide my services to people all over the world, right? That speak English. People that are struggling, like to learn English because they're dyslexic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of people are speaking it, but tech gives me the opportunity to connect with them and to be able to teach them, despite the fact that they live in a foreign country.
Yeah.
It's not going anywhere. It's almost like it's similar to what we would call the great equalizer. So
Mm,
constantly, like knowledge and learning, that should never stop,
yeah.
right?
I agree.
Like,
Yeah.
what do you for what? What's the why would you stop learning? There's
Yeah.
no benefit to it, right?
Mm,
So you have to push yourself,
yeah.
and I think self discipline is probably the hardest thing to do.
Yeah.
But I know for me, I wasn't the greatest at being disciplined at all.
Disappointed.
Like, I know my parents are so laid back. Like, do whatever. You made a 70, good job. Yeah, you did it. I'm like, okay, good. Chilling. And which that was good. It was good because the pressure wasn't on me, like to
Right.
make
Yeah.
the grades.
Mm,
Um, but I didn't get that level of discipline that I needed to
mm,
be um, more like I'm a go-getter, but to be more
yeah.
of a go-getter in the area of knowledge. And
Mm,
I think academics is just more difficult. People don't want to read and write and golly,
yeah.
this is not we naturally we speak to each other, right? We come out of the womb, the first thing we do is we cry, right? Speaking is a natural part of being a human being, but reading and writing and using those tools to learn, that's not
Right.
natural.
Right.
And so a lot of people think that innately you have to have that as a skill. You don't. Those are skills that you build, right? And
Mm-hmm.
they saying, oh, once your intelligence is here, it's stuck. No, intelligence is fluid. It changes, right? And we
Yeah.
have all of the research and science out there that proves it. You may have been, we've had students that were considered intellectually disabled, right? So they're below that on the in the quartiles, like
Yeah.
the bell, it's the bell curve, right?
Yeah.
Deviations, right? Yeah. So in that they're below that 50%,
Mhm.
like falling, and so giving them the tools that they need to learn how to read, we move them up more towards like that average percentage. And to a lot of people, it may not seem like a big deal, but it is, because that took them from now having to have a caregiver full time to be able to
So
survive to now
right.
be on their own.
Yeah.
Do you see what I'm saying? The quality of
Mhm.
life. And so, but again, you having to have that knowledge, being able to read, and then being able to take the reading and writing and written language skills on their
Yeah.
own and apply it, and to keep pushing and to keep learning and to keep the brain active and,
Yeah.
and learning and understanding and talking to people. Um, though I think that for me, that's number one. That is number one,
Yeah. I
right?
agree.
Number one, for sure, for sure. Take care of your body.
Yeah.
You know, I'm vegan. I wasn't for a long. Well, I've been for a while now. Since
Mhm.
goodness gracious, almost 10 years, I've been
Oh
vegan.
wow. Dang.
And so that's been an awesome journey, and I love it. Um, and but I mean, it doesn't mean that I'm gonna stay that way, but making changes to my diet and showing myself I had the discipline to do it. Like, that's hard.
Yeah.
I'm from
Yeah.
Louisiana. Come on, where's our crop? I need the all of it. Okay, the
Right.
lobster. Put the potatoes and the corn, the crawfish, please, with the sausage and neck bones. Let's get it on, right?
Yeah.
That's where I came from. And so, but over time you realize, oh, this is just not milk and meat.
Mhm.
Don't That's not really. I don't think
Mhm.
I'm supposed to have that, right? And so, trying out different things. What can you do to prolong your life?
Right.
Right? It's a prolonging of your life, and while you're prolonging your life, what can you do to enhance it through the information that you gain, right?
Damn.
So I think that's going to be the most important. Those are the two
For
most
sure.
important things.
That's
Yeah.
everything. Yeah. How are you bettering your mind and your body? How are you bettering the quality of your life? Like that's literally everything right there.
Yeah.
Because without the mind, the body is pretty much nothing. Vice versa. You know what I'm saying? You could be the smartest person in the world, but if you can't, you know,
Mm-hmm.
take care of your physical self, like you know what I'm saying, then what what is life without a certain quality of it? Being able to provide for
Yeah.
yourself and stuff like that. Like that's everything. That's yeah. That's a good like
Mm-hmm.
a nice
Mm-hmm.
little tip
Yeah.
or a bit of advice I would say. That's good.
Yeah.
Um
Yeah.
so do you have anything you want to plug? I know we got the Paul Foundation.
Yeah, no. Just yeah, no. Visit the International Dyslexia Association, particularly Dallas branch.
Mhm.
Florida too is great, but we do provide scholarships to people, no matter their income, because you can
Mhm.
make $200,000 and still be struggling. And
Just
we
yeah.
we get people like that.
Right.
They have 5 kids, and you think 200K is a lot, but when you got 5 kids and you've got, all of these other bills that you're having to pay in one income,
Yeah.
over time, it eats it up. You've got to save for future. So income is not a barrier. If you prove that you have a need for it, then we will provide the scholarship for you. If you have a therapist, you don't get a tutor. If somebody says that they're a dyslexic
Mhm.
tutor, run. Okay, because we have a lot of families run, yeah, run, and I mean it. Okay, because we have a lot of families that come through and they have paid, especially ones that can afford it, $200. $200,000, $400,000 on tutoring for multiple kids, tutoring because the
Dang.
person you think you can teach. Because I did too. Like, oh yeah, I can do this. I'm like
Yeah.
English. I can, yeah. You think you can do that, but with dyslexia, you cannot. Okay, and
Mm.
so and make sure that the person is a therapist. If they don't have therapists behind their name, then I mean, they're not. Okay, I'm not gonna say not qualified. Let me take that back. Anyone who has a therapist behind their name is qualified to teach your child
Right.
or even adult if you're dyslexic.
Okay.
I've had people that are adults that can't read. One of my students online, which I really love, his dad didn't realize that he was also dyslexic, but he would sit by
Oh
his
wow.
son he would sit by his son during the lessons just to make sure that he would be focusing. But the whole time I'm teaching his son, he's learning
He
about him.
learned. He learned it right.
Yes, and so
Whoa.
he started telling, I'm a tutor to daddy. He's like, oh my god, I
Right.
remember when I was in school, and he would tell me the stories that they did. This is why we're called therapists, because now
Mm.
we have to work through all of that trauma
Yeah.
before, because you've already gone through school. I'm sure your teacher and your tutor, everybody, I'm going to do this. I'll be able to teach you to read, and they've all failed. So
Mm.
now there's no trust, right? So you've got
Yeah.
to start building that trust back up before they
Yeah.
even believe that you can teach them how to read, right? So make
Man.
sure that they have therapists behind their name as part of their credentials. So that way, you're not spending money unnecessarily. That's very important. And if you can't afford it, then we offer scholarships 2 times a year, April and October. You just get your
Mm.
paperwork in. If you need help getting that paperwork in, reach out to me, reach out to any of us. We're at dallasida.org. We will more than happy to help you. We know that the issue is with reading, and we don't want that to be a barrier to you being able to fill out the application to receive a scholarship to help you read. And we offer it to children and adults, as long as the need is there. We
Mm.
will come out and do any of the DEI trainings that companies have. I've gotten a chance to go to the FBI and present. I've
Oh
gone
wow.
to like the Fortune 200 companies and presented on dyslexia and how they can assist the people in their organization who are dyslexic, and people that have been afraid to come forward, that have been working there for
Mm.
decades. And like, oh my God, you came and you like I feel confident when telling people I got dyslexia, right? Because there's a stigma behind it.
Yeah.
And so people don't want to say that they are dyslexic. And it really, I mean, for them, for a lot of them, it is a curse, right? Because of what they've
Mm.
been through. But it is such a huge gift. And if you have anyone who has a dyslexic brain in your organization, you're really lucky, because the way that they
Mm.
think is very different from anyone else who is neurotypical. So yeah.
Wow.
And like donating to the scholarship fund. And if you any questions, everyone has any questions, like I'm always happy to answer, especially for our people. I advocate for our people when I can. If the school's not providing services when they should, I can look up the laws. I know the laws. I can help you read the laws and to ensure that your student or your child is getting the education that they deserve and that they're supposed to be getting. We've got a lot of
Mm.
school districts that do not want to provide it because it costs money and it's a lot of resources, and they don't have enough cognitive
Yeah.
load free in their brain to think about it. So
Mm.
it's just whatever for your kid, right? But we're here. There's organizations out there that are willing to help, people that are willing to help, and just reach out to us, and we're here, and we're happy to be here to
Yeah.
serve the community in whatever way we can.
Wow. Yeah. Man, sorry, you got me like speechless right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
you came in here with something that I never really expected. Like this whole thing has like been like eye opener for me. It's like the correlation stuff, the difference in mindset, like just so much about what you talked about. Um, like I say this a lot, but if you didn't take anything from this interview, then you just wasn't listening. I don't know. Maybe hit Shanara up and see like if she could help you help you comprehend a little bit because you was in here. You was spitting today for real. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, I genuinely appreciate you taking this time. We've been on here for like almost 3 hours now, and I've
Yeah, this
enjoyed
is
every minute
fun.
of it. Yeah, I like
Yeah.
this a lot. Um, I may have to get you back on here for not maybe not like an interview setting, but just to get more of just what you have to share, especially once you finish your data science stuff.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure. Would love
but
to.
yeah, hearing how you like connect all these different things, like I feel like somebody's definitely gonna benefit from this. So I genuinely
So,
appreciate you taking this time to do this. Thank you so
yeah.
much.
Yeah. Thank you. It
Yeah,
was an honor for you to
for
have me
sure.
here
Of
and to invite
course.
me. Appreciate you for that.
Of course. Of course. You got anything else before we wrap up?
No, no, but have fun
Yeah.
too. Okay, no, well,
Oh
I know
yeah,
we put
yeah,
this
yeah. Keep
right.
that.
Hey, get your mind right. Definitely get your mind right, but have fun too.
Yeah.
I mean, like I watch, watch movies or chill out, hang out with
Mm-hmm.
people. Like, of course, definitely enjoy life. You
Yeah.
know, yeah,
Yeah,
enjoy
I
life
agree.
and appreciate the people that are here. Love on them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, I don't even got much to say beyond that. Yeah, I thank you so much again.
yeah,
So, yeah, I guess I'm gonna just wrap up. Like, you said you touched on so much stuff that I don't even really have. Usually, I like to like reiterate certain things, but it's like you said it. You said it. You said everything perfectly. So,
thank you, thank you.
let me
You have
think.
to edit this out though, because they can be like, "Dang, 3 hours. We almost. I'm not watching this."
Nah, I mean, it's. I'm gonna see. I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna see, but like, it's a lot of
Yeah,
good stuff in here. So I'll probably even if I cut it down, I'll probably still end up being like 2:45 or something. But we'll see.
yeah,
But
yeah.
all right. Yeah, so this has been another episode of my Tech Story interview series. Yeah, that's it. Y'all be safe.
Gonna win, we know. And let the church say we know we're gonna win.